Going on, Otters? We are here for yet another week of Blue Otter Masters. My name is Yanni. I am joined here by Shibby. Shibby, we got two really good teams going at it, but it is still early in the season. We don't quite know how good these teams are or won't be, but what we do know is there's a lot of holdovers from this LiT Esports roster last season.
I mean, both teams are 1-0 right now, and as we kind of just get into the draft, Rek'Sai priority taken out once. I mean, that's just considered insta-ban, right? If you're playing against LiT Esports Blue. Ruko, hopefully I'm saying that name right, has 40 games on Rek'Sai right now in solo queue here, as LiT are going to take the Udyr away right now. Which team will end up banning the Jarvan? Which team will end up banning the Kai'Sa? As those two, I anticipate, are going to be very high priority for both of these teams.
Yeah, not only are the champions really good, although Kai'Sa has seen a noticeable downtick in play, still a very good champion to pick. It looks like that will be the last ban for the Jarvan. At least they'll hover it. So a known NA at Worlds tier name, Khan Esports, with their first pick in the draft. Shibby, what do you think they're going to go with?
I think it's the Kai'Sa Prio. I don't think you give that over to Shepard, who right now I believe has like 60 games in solo queue, but instead they're gonna take the next best Gore Drinker, Shojin, Spirit Visage, Frozen Heart jungler, Xin Zhao, who has seen a nice bit of uptick in both play rate and win rate since those buffs came over to the Spirit Shojin item. A lot of those 80, ganking, fighting style junglers have seen a nice play rate increase and win rate increase. So I think Xin Zhao is just the next best option, specifically if you have solo lanes you want to play around, which is important for both of these teams.
Yep, and both of these teams undefeated on the young season. And Xin Zhao, great early jungler, as you mentioned, something to definitely watch out for. You can see Azeri already getting locked in. So while Khan Esports is like, hey, we're going pedal to the metal for minute one, LiT Esports is saying, you know what, we will chill out. Who knows? Maybe Azeri is even the LiT Esports mascot, Lightning, right?
Yeah, maybe. But I want to see what kind of support they end up pairing it with. And instead, not locking the support in, they're going to take the green gloop himself, Zach. A very different choice, I would say. But, considering his Rek'Sai is gone, you want to go for something gank heavy. Level 3 impact is very, very nice. You get 2 more levels, your E range becomes drastically longer. I do like the Alistar hover, though, because when the Zac E is coming in, you can just pre-prep that W ready to go and completely stop that whole engage.
Yeah, it's not quite as interactive as some of the other champions you could pick in the support role. However, it does get the job done all the same. So that Alistar going to get locked in. And this also means that there's potential for some aggression down in the bot lane. It seems like Khan Esports is just ready to fight right away. And LiT Esports wants to be a little bit more reactive. And they will lock in the Sivir as well.
Oh, this is like a go fast team comp, right? You've got the W2 ready for the Zeri, right? The instant kind of pulverized combo ready in case you want to just engage on the Zeri really quickly. You can also use it for peel on the Zac. And Xin Zhao, one of those champions that famously can go in but can't really get out. So instead of just kind of, saying, you know what, let's maybe draft a Thresh since that's banned. Let's maybe get something else like a Enchanter for the Xin Zhao. They're just going to hyper index to the go forward button and just, if Xin Zhao goes in, everybody's going to go in. And that's just how Khan wants to play. And I had a feeling Lulu would get picked up for the Zeri. Still very, very good. I think recently got some buffs, I think a couple patches ago in regards to her Pix damage and her E. So I think just a solid pairing, and LiT have taken kind of the more, chiller, more cool bot side, while on Khan Esports, they're just on, pedal to the metal kind of focus right now.
Yeah, and the Lulu happens to just be really good here, not only to help out the Zeri, but the tools that you have to kind of stop the Alistar Sivir from, dealing consistent damage and staying on you once they go in. Plus, you can do it to the Xin Zhao as well if you're close enough to not die. Not too bad there, but I do, have some concerns, right? They've shown you what you're going to see, right? The, double supports and jungle on both sides. And if I'm a bot laner, if I'm another role on Khan Esports, I'm like pretty chill with how it's going. But LiT Esports, on the other hand, it feels like their solo laners are going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting in the early part of this game.
Yeah, definitely, right? And I don't think that's necessarily unheard of. Scorpio, their mid laner, big Zed player, big Syndra, Yasuo Ari, a lot of like, I'm going to kill you in lane or I'm going to get prio in lane. So just play around me. And I love pairing that up with a champion like the Zac, who has all the CC set up ready to go, as we see Khan opting in to ban the Camille and the Jax away from what is IQ Island. IQ Island here. She's going to have to be put onto something a little bit more differently. LiT Esports, I want to say they're going to save their counter pick for mid lane here. That's my assumption.
Yeah, IQ Island, such a sick name, by the way. That is, I love that name. That's really cool. But yeah, we're gonna see a set get locked in here. So this is a really, really good answer based on what LiT Esports is staring down. You know, you can get the Xin Zhao and the Alistar out of there.
Yeah, you just ult him away. You've got a lot of, peel. You have the kind of like focus me button when you play set, right? Because if he's in your backline, if he ults the Alistar, if he ults the Xin Zhao away, you kind of have to turn on him and burst him down. And if you don't do it quick enough, he's going to get that haymaker. He's going to get that true damage coming out from his W and cause a lot of damage, especially into such a short range composition from Khan Esports. As I say that, they do lock in that Orianna, who has that ball delivery system with 2 individuals on the Alistar and the Xin Zhao here.
Yeah, the one thing is that Orianna does have some difficulty against the Zac, right? So you can pick an aggressive mid laner as your counter for LiT Esports, and you can make some hay in the mid lane. This is kind of the opening that LiT Esports really needs in the early game. So we'll see what their last pick is to kind of round out the team composition. They are going to go with a Renekton, so they are going to try to opt into a winning lane on the top side, which means they want to funnel LiT Esports as the only way to get things done into the mid lane. This also means that LiT Esports can't grab another real late game pick, or shouldn't, I should say. They could make the pick happen and could get kills anyway, but, conventional wisdom.
Ooh, and they're opting in for that classic Syndra Ori matchup. But specifically, you mentioned they don't want to pick a late game champion. Syndra has kind of evolved over time, right? Ever since she got that rework with the shards, she's kind of been just much better in the late game. She hasn't lost her early game punch by any means. It's just that now when you scale with her, when you get a couple more items, that combo of the stun plus R can virtually one-shot champions like the Sivir, like the Orianna, potentially the Xin Zhao if he opts in for a more aggressive build that we've seen. And comboing that with the Zac, I mean, that is just so much burst coming out into this Orianna here. I fear for Khan Esports mid laner here. I feel for his life because I feel like he's going to just get a brunt of the pressure.
Yeah, it is certainly possible for mid 2 easy to be under a lot of pressure here, but the pressure is going, elsewhere. And the question is whether or not Absar is going to go help out that lane or going to go try to extend leads in other lanes, right? I expect we're going to see a lot of things happen on this top side, especially because, once you concede the wave state, oh, now you're in a lot of trouble, right? You start pushing up over the minion line, and then the jungler could come in from that tri-brush from behind or something like that. It could be bad news, Shibby.
I think also as well, LiT Esports, typically I've held the idea that if you pick a Zeri Lulu lane or you pick Zeri pretty much, in that bot lane, you have to concede the first 2 dragons, right? Unless something, catastrophic happens for Khan's bot lane where they end up somehow getting 2v2 killed, Sivir will consistently get the push, right? That allows Alistar to kind of roam into the mid lane, potentially roam into the top lane, but it also allows Xin Zhao to just pick up kind of dragons for free. He can get some help from his bot lane if he so pleases, or they can just kind of choose to shove the wave under LiT Esports and kind of force Zeri Lulu into this more defensive state where they just have to pick up as much CS as they can under the tower here. So I would expect Khan to kind of accelerate the game a little bit with dragon stacking, and especially when you have that Orianna, you can skirmish at level 6, right? You have the Alistar, you have the Xin Zhao. Regardless if Syndra is kind of like slightly winning that mid lane matchup, when it comes to skirmishing, unless Zeri's at that 1 to maybe 2 item point with that Lulu potentially rushing Ardent Sensor here, you can't really skirmish, and you kind of have to play kind of the 2v2 Zac Syndra versus Xin Zhao Orianna. And then if you're LiT Esports, you can maybe sneak a dragon here or there. But I feel like Khan they've got the right idea, and they can play around this bot lane and this top lane very, very well. As long as mid 2 easy survives, they'll come into this mid game with some very, very strong power spikes in the Renekton, in the Sivir, in the Orianna.
Well, sounds like you wrapped a bow on it, Shibby. One last question, no context whatsoever. Who am I putting my channel points on? I have 16.4k channel points.
Khan Esports. I talked about it in prep. this could easily just be a Con 2-0, right? Like Con Esports could easily just 2-0 this team, and I'm confident that they have the ability to do it. It's just whether they can execute.
Well, we will see if they're able to get the job done. We are hitting the spectator delay. I've hit the channel points button and put it all in on Con Esports. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we'll be on Summoner's Rift, Game 1 of this best of 3, Con Esports X versus LiT Esports Blue. All right, Otters. We are on Summoner's Rift. Con Esports X, LiT Esports Blue, going at it head-to-head. And Shibby, I think this is going to be a pretty good game. I think a lot closer than what we might think.
I in the pre-draft and kind of in the prep, I felt that there was, if Con Esports solo lanes are playing to the level that I expect them to be, and based off of what I've seen and what you can infer off their solo queue, the mid too easy and Rizwan should be able to kind of outlane Luna and Scorpio, and also like you mentioned, LiT Esports are playing with the top lane sub, so it's not their normal roster. So I don't know if, Khan is going to pick on this guy, if it's going to be like Renekton, Xin Zhao just constantly diving the set. There's a lot of different strategies that Khan Esports can employ here. And like I said, I think they're going to play towards their top lane. They're going to play towards this dragon stacking. And if that's the case, this game could get blown open so quickly.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chibi, it makes a lot of sense that they pick set with JJ Luna in the game. JJ Luna was on LiT Esports last season. In fact, this LiT Esports roster is now 4/5 of what they were last season, and they did okay. Things were okay for them. It wasn't the greatest of all time, but it certainly wasn't that bad. The team finished pretty okay, so I expect a pretty competitive match here. And they were the second place team, going into the playoffs, right? This is a team that did go pretty far. So I'm excited to see if JJ Luna is in game shape, right? Because it is very early on into the season, and you might not necessarily be in competitive match shape.
Yeah, you could just end up being like Joe Burrow yesterday and just not even, be ready to play as mid lane. Bit of a slugfest. I like the idea from mid to easy, kind of just try to abuse the Orianna buffs that she got with the Q damage and everything like that. But right now, I don't think we're going to see too much lane interaction from these guys. There's not going to be too much crazy solo kills. Not until the junglers get involved. As Ruko does a pretty interesting path, by the way. He went Raptors into the Golems, then finished his red buff here. So I like the pathing from Zach. Allows him to do the AoE camps pretty quickly. And then he can, finish off with his red. So he has that with him just a little bit longer than Absar will.
Yeah, and because Absar went bottom to top, this also means that the shove that's occurring here from the side of LiT Esports is going to go unpunished. And, they could even decide, if the pressure is that great and they get a little bit of poking, to potentially dive with Zach being on the bottom side of the map. Rizwan shoving it on the top side. This means that Absar is not really able to help the side of the map that needs it.
Yeah, Sivir needs to hit level 3 before she can really start kind of shoving that wave in. She wants all of her abilities. She wants to use the E aggressively, because now it doesn't give mana. When you use it, it gives HP. So you can kind of trade your HP bar, play a little close range, shove the lane, and then if that Zeri throws something like the Q or like the W, or if you can predict the Glitter Lance, you can get some HP back and trade your E for the lane shove here. As Rizwan, though, he is stacking the wave, kind of, right? He's got a couple casters ready to go. As now you mentioned that mid lane pressure.
Oh, Ruko coming flying in. The flash from mid too easy. Absar's in the area, but not close enough to get the kill. Although Scorpio, they're going to be hard-pressed to find a way out. They don't have red buff on him. The red buff was not ticking, and Scorpio lives with just a sliver of HP, Shibby.
Oh, man, what rough luck. He full clears as Xin Zhao, his mid lane dies. And we talked about that Zac Syndra combo, right? If mid too easy can stay safe, then it works out, right? Then you don't have to worry about, feeding the Syndra, feeding this monster in the mid lane. But just as soon as we talked about it, it happened, and Ruko has flash up, right? He can potentially go for a regank or flash follow with the Q. So mid too easy, he's got to play very safe, especially with this huge wave stacking against him.
Yeah, and they just spotted Absar on the bottom side of the map through Tribrush. I don't know if Scorpio quite saw it. It did get pinged out. Scorpio with the side steps is going to get engaged on and forced off. But everybody's okay. Absar going to take a little bit of damage for his trouble, but this is a nice wave that mid too easy is going to be very happy to collect.
Yeah, that's one of those ganks where you just kind of have to relieve some pressure from the Orianna, right? And now Absar, he might potentially pay for that pathing as Ruko.
Wow, what a stun from Scorpio. Absar is very low. Mid too easy is there. Absar's going to go back in with barely any HP. The shielding is not available. It ends up being a kill. Now the Zac blobs are out. Mid too easy. He wants to get on top of them, deal the damage, right? You do have that QW combo, but isn't able to get the last auto off. The well-timed stun out of Scorpio means that it will be a 2-for-1 overall.
Oh, disaster as well. Scorpio, he picks up a kill, picks up the assists. That's a whole lot of gold going into your mid-jungle combo. This is the combo that can dictate the game for LiT Esports right now. And Absar got punished for his pathing. And him going back in, I was asking the same question as you. Where was the Orianna E the whole time?
Yeah, it's just... It looked like maybe it was on cooldown at that point. You know, could have been used a little bit earlier. You know, sometimes you use it to get the ball back to you very quickly, just in case you want to help out over the wall, like you saw at the first start of that fight. But ends up going the way of LiT Esports Blue. And Shibby, they have not missed a beat from last season, even with the new 80 carry.
Yeah, and that top lane sub as well. We call it sub, quote unquote, but like you said, he did play on the roster last season. But it seems to me that he doesn't really need to be in fighting form, as now Kiwi cues the Zac engage.
Wait, Kiwi is taking a lot of damage. Got ignited as well by Banks. Will be forced to flash out of there. And Shibby, you talked about the timing, and you know, we talked about how it's not as smooth as some other characters, but wait, Mid too easy is showing up to the party. Banks forced to flash, so punished for sticking around a little too long there.
Good roam as Absar. He's going to fancy himself a 1v1 with Scorpio, but that's a lost chapter, Syndra.
And it won't be a 1v1 for too long. Absar knocked to the side, but is able to continue the chase. Mid too easy is there. The shielding is there, but Mid too easy doesn't have the ultimate available. Scorpio is just going to get auto-attacked half to death, maybe full to death. And Absar claims a kill.
Yeah, and that was a nice kind of sidestep from Absar. He still gets stunned, but he doesn't get pushed so far back. And Xin Zhao being that early game champion with the Iron Spike whip, unfortunately, even with Scorpio having all that gold on him, isn't able to get the burst set up here. Now Absar fancies a fight with Ruko.
Yeah, Ruko is going to have the burning there from the Bammy Cinder, but Absar is going to get the extra shielding. That little extra oomph you need into the pocket. Mid too easy gets the kill. And so far, Con Esports doing a good job to turn it around. They're going to get on the Dragon.
I love the punish coming out from Absar. Such a smart move from him to hide in that bush and wait for Scorpio to move down to the mid lane. And then once they figure that out, I think Ruko kind of made a ballsy call to go for that Scuttlecrab. As now a fight for the Dragon has turned into a full skirmish.
It's not even a fight at that point. Banks just gets blown up by everybody, and Kiwi finds a way on top of Scorpio. It's 2 more for Absar.
That guy died, respawned, died again. He's back to the fountain in a matter of seconds. He speed-runned the fountain, timer here, unfortunately for Scorpio here. He's died twice in a matter of, 45 seconds? That's a lot of gold. Again, going into Absar. The Dragon is going to be not taken just yet from Con Esports. They're going to cash in the gold they got, and I don't doubt that they're going to go and try to retake this Dragon.
Yeah, the new gray Zac skin from Ruko, the dead skin, right? Playing Gray Screen Simulator a little bit, and this lead that you had cultivated early and did a good job at exactly what you needed to do has just been absolutely blown up in their face. And this is a team that, wanted to go to late game with N7 Shepard on this Zeri. And, right now you're not doing your Zeri any favors as the game goes on.
Yeah, I mean, having an Orianna and a Xin Zhao breathing down your neck is not going to be any fun, especially even if you have the Lulas. Now Kiwi is full.
That was a good headbutt there. Kiwi's going to pop the ultimate, though. Nice double knock-up. Is he going to be able to get out? Not quite. N7 Shepard is going to get the first kill of the game for themselves. So they're only down about 1,000 gold in 9 minutes. It's a great gank there. I'll bet a little forced, and Absar going to respond in kind by going up top for the Richter.
Yeah, and Rizwan, we couldn't see it, but just went for the solo bolo onto Luna. Gets that winning matchup like you said. And yeah, that full rage bar, just whittling down the set, getting that advantageous matchup is going to be so nice. So a Dragon and a Rift Herald traded amongst objective-wise, and a kill for a kill as well. Blood for blood as Absar. Uh-oh, he hit the W. Yeah, Scorpio, you got to flash.
Flashing after Scorpio here. is just actually going to avoid, Ruko was probably going to be on the way. Could potentially turn this around, but Scorpio's a little too low. I like what Absar has done this game. Yeah, you burnt the flash there. Kind of stinky, right? But, I mean, so far, just complete control of the game.
Oh, and Luna's sacking a whole wave right now. He was potentially going into that mid lane, expecting another redive from Absar. Rizwan got that whole wave in, proxied the second wave, and Luna, unfortunately, didn't have TP up at the time, so he's going to miss a whole bunch of CS, and you can see it right now. It's a 20 CS lead for the Renekton. Yeah,
that's pretty bad. I saw a lead like that the other night when I got to cast Crimson, the brother of Viper and General Sniper, and it did not go well for the team that was staring down the Renekton. And Rizwan is just going to be another name in the long line of dangerous champions that LiT Esports is going to be staring down as the game goes on. JJ Luna doing really what they can, but, it's a tough 1v1 to even go even in, and, not getting any jungle attention either hasn't really helped out.
Yeah, I think Renekton, another one of those champions that's benefited from the Spear of Shojin chains. Absar blowing that flash earlier. Scorpio, you got to dodge the W. Okay.
Absar reminds me of Pitbull because not only is he Mr. Worldwide, but he is just on top of the enemy champions all game long. Ruko going to try to find a kill onto the Soriana. The flash away. The knockup is there, which means Ori's going to find a way out, but it's the roam from the bot lane, and Absar gets shut down. Ruko getting the money in the pocket.
Unlucky, right? You want to try to give that to your Zeri. That one solace is that, okay, your bot lane roams, you get the massive shutdown onto your Zeri. Unfortunately, it goes over to the Zac, who's just going to end up getting tankier. Don't get me wrong, but Absar has done the damage. He's gotten his mid lane back into a position where he can tussle with Scorpio, where he can contribute into these skirmishes, as the next dragon will be coming up in about 2.5 minutes. You have to believe that this lead that you mentioned, Khan Esports has grown to about 3,000.
Yeah, and it's a rush to get the mythics right now if you're the side of LiT Esports, right? Rizwan on mythic, Absar also on mythic. These mid laners elected to pick up their boots, so it will delay it a little bit, but the 80 carries missing their mythics as well. I mean, it's going to be a pretty big deal if you roll into that fight, and Rizwan and Absar are the only ones, and you see Mid Too Easy just taking it back and now picking up the Leandries on top of it. I mean, Khan Esports is very, very powerful. Much unlike their namesake and what we rated them, they are not NA at Worlds. Though we're going to see a 3v3 skirmish on the bot lane. The Rift Herald goes down. The teleport is coming in. Zeri is going to jet set radio out, as you mentioned, and that means Ruko is just left all alone. He's just a pile of blobs, man.
Oh, and the Rift Herald also gets popped in the bot lane. Zeri has to take the back. Wistful, who has had a quiet game, I would say, has just survived in that bot lane, is now getting a direct inject. Golden Banks is going to die.
Oh, they're about to make a deposit on Banks right now. 300 gold for Absar on top of it. This is a huge pouring of gold into the pockets of Khan Esports right now, because they're going to get at least one more plate here. They might even take the turret if they so choose, and Absar gets a couple more.
Yeah, and in a matter of seconds, it went from 3,000 to 5,000, right? That bot lane skirmish into the Rift Herald, into, turret plating. So much gold has just been put on the side of, Khan Esports here, and it's been onto the members that needed it, right? Wistful is going to come in with his first item completed. Yeah, it's not a mythic like you mentioned, but it's Kraken Slayer Sivir. This dragon's coming up in 45 seconds, and pound for pound, item for item, LiT Esports is just not ready for this slugfest.
The Wrath of Khan is swift, Shibby. I mean, they would look like they were way behind and not going to be able to do anything, and that LiT Esports was going to cruise into where they're strongest in the game. Nope, not so. Completely turned around, and LiT Esports needs to be very careful, because one more fight that goes the way of Khan, maybe a 4-0 or even a 4-1, that could just mean that you are too far out of the game to actually come back. With the skill level of the players here, once you fall behind, it's really, really hard for these players to relinquish the leads that they get.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we're in the Masters League. This isn't your typical solo queue game. These guys are going to be able to hold on to this lead. They're not going to take some crazy fights here unless they're feeling a bit overzealous. And honestly, if I'm Khan Esports, I may try to bait a fight here with this dragon, right? I may say, hey, maybe you guys have a chance, but I think smartfully, LiT Esports are still holding on to that Zeri win condition. Despite that one solo kill going over to Rizwan, Luna has been doing fairly okay. He hasn't been able to hit the back yet, though. He's been sitting on the Phage plus plated steel caps for quite a while here. And with this lead that you have, mid too easy, though, he's going to get ganked.
Yeah, mid too easy's been ganked all game long, and they're living up to their namesake right now. Scorpio forced away. You do barely any damage because of the Merc Treads, and it just seems hopeless for LiT.
I mean, that ultimate plus W just chunked out Scorpio completely. And like you mentioned, no Lunans, no Mythic in hand. Scorpio, unfortunately, just can't get the damage down. And with that mid lane play, that signals Con Esports to finally take this dragon here. The first for them is we do get the Mountain Soul and Mountain Rift upon us. And that just spells doom if you're the side of LiT Esports. 3 Mountain Dragons into a Mountain Soul for the side of Con Esports, and they just become unkillable. I don't care if you have a Zeri Lulu on your team. It just becomes super tough.
Yeah, it's not so great. And, you know, the good news is for LiT Esports, there's not a whole lot that locks Zeri down here. I mean, if you can keep your distance from the Alistar, you know, it's not like your, you know, a Vi is bearing down on your neck. It's really just a Xin Zhao. You can get out and you can cook later on in the game, but I don't know if you're going to get there, man. If the rest of the team is dead, you know, a 5v1, you're not really going to be able to do much.
Yeah, it's really up to Banks as well to kind of, you know, mechanically maneuver that engage, right? Because if the Alistar W's in, if you're fast enough, you can, you know, polymorph, you could even wild growth your Zeri, get the knock up in and just kind of completely, you know, negate that engage here. But I feel like you have Absolar, like you said, you have Rizwan who potentially can get a flank on. There's a lot of ways they can jump onto the Zeri. Yeah, it's not a point-and-click CC, like you mentioned, like the Vi, like the Annie. But for Shepard to get any damage in, especially with how far his team, you know, how far behind his team is, he's got to play a little bit more risky. He's got to play a little bit more aggressive, and that opens you up to, you know, to these kind of combos from the Alistar, the combo potentially with the Orianna ult and the Xin Zhao, and you could just, like you said, lose the game right there. We talked about this game being blown open very, very quickly. It's 6,500 gold right now for Con Esports, and they're just, you know, surgically and clinically playing it very correctly.
Yeah, it's nice to see because, well, there was a lot of skirmishing early. There hasn't been lately because there's no reason to, right? You know, Con Esports is just chilling out. They're like, you know what? We're going to play a regular old game of League of Legends. We're going to go shove our side lanes because we're strong. Send your AD carry mid lane, look to get this turret. And then once this mid turret falls, I mean, you know, this entire line of vision is just going to be pushed all the way up. These wards that you're seeing on the bottom side of the jungle here from LiT are going to be taken out once this mid turret goes down.
Yeah, and we're just going to see Con Esports pick and pull LiT apart right now, right? You mean JJ Luna has to burn the ultimate for himself. So you look at the rest, you know, on the side of Con. They just had to burn a couple casual CCs. As now we see a potential play, but Ruko misses the engage. This is a 2v3 right now. Let's see if they can take it.
Yeah, Shepard's trying to do what they can, but now they had to flash away. They have no ghost. Shepard gets ulted by the Lulu, but dies anyway. And then Lulu goes down because the Alistar is there. Everybody on Con Esports mobbing the mid lane, taking the turret, taking lives, and looking to take the game.
Yeah, they're going to take mid-tier 2 here pretty quickly. We're in the Baron waiting room right now. It's 18.5 minutes. Baron's going to be up pretty soon. They probably will go for all the marbles. I'm going to assume they might just take Dragon, then go to Baron here. That engage from LiT Esports was probably like their last hurrah almost, right? That was like the shot in the dark right now is Absolar and the rest of Con Esports. Maybe they want to go in, but he's got a big shutdown. Who's it going to go to?
It is going to go to the Syndra, not who you wanted it to go to. The mid inhibitor turret still going to stand as well. You don't get the bottom inner turret, so pressing a little too hard there is the side of Con Esports. And it looks like this Rift Herald might expire in the inventory of Absolar. You had the opportunity to drop it there too. I'm not quite sure. I saw it on cooldown. Maybe that was because he was in combat. I don't quite know how it interacts if you were the cooldown of it when you're dead. Does it still count as you being in combat? It should be your jungler. You'd know more than I would.
Right now, the Rift Herald is bugged in Spectator.
Oh, like true. It really is.
Been bugged. Like, it shows 2 charges. You don't really know.
You got 2 heralds.
Yeah, you have 2 heralds. It's super bugged at the moment, usually.
Or do you have 23 heralds? Or is it 23 squared?
It's 23 the second power.
It's 23
yeah, maybe.
times 23 Rift Heralds. You know how many Rift Heralds that is, Shibby?
Yeah, well, Rizwan is about to just maybe kill. Wait a minute.
Okay.
JJ Luna absolutely smurfs that fight. Rizwan.
I gotta be honest with you.
Solo mode.
I didn't think JJ Luna was gonna get the kill there. I mean, you know, that's why I was trying to do the math on the Rift Heralds, and this is why they say don't do math on broadcast, Shibby, because you blink and you'll miss it. Although it was a long blink, I guess. JJ Luna getting a solo kill.
Yeah, I mean, has the Gore Drinker picked up the Executioner's calling as well to kind of negate some of Rizwan's healing? I'm kind of surprised. I feel like Rizwan just kind of face tanked that Haymaker a little bit. He was playing a little bit disrespectful into JJ Luna. Wasn't expecting that true damage and unfortunately gets taken down. But now that Lifter, like you mentioned, does get dropped, gets popped in the top lane. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, a fight breaks out.
Yeah, Ruko is low, Banks is low, and this Rift Herald is going to get a charge on the top inhibitor turret. They're going to walk the rest of the team up there. Con Esports just relentless in their ability to keep pushing further. Mid 2 easy still has the shockwave available. They'll take the turret, and unlike last time, they will elect to walk it out.
Yeah, and LiT Esports pings go down onto the Dragon right now as Mr. Kiwi, unfortunate pathing from him, goes away from his team, and everybody's chasing for that steak sauce.
Oh, they want it, but are they going to get it? Shepard wants to go get it, but there's a fight on the backside. Scorpio going to get that kill. The polymorph comes out. Banks is alive, just barely alive. And now JJ Luna taking a lot of damage and goes down. Rizwan is full HP. Mid 2 easy is far too strong. And Scorpio said, dude, where's my team? They're all dead. And it's an ace for Con Esports.
Oh, it was all a bait. Mr. Kiwi said, yes, burn all of your cooldowns for me. The rest of my team will collapse here. Wishful thinking from LiT Esports. Yeah, you got the Alistar, but what did you get in return? You paid the price in blood. You've lost all your members. You're going to lose the mid lane inhibitor, and it turns out you're also going to lose your bottom lane tier 2. And wait, they're going to pick up the Dragon on the backside. They're going to then recall and turn their eyes most likely towards this Baron.
All they see is gold, baby. 11K gold lead for Con Esports. I don't really think there's anything that can be done now if you're LiT Esports, right? You feel like, I don't think you're going to get to the late game, and I really hate to be the doomer here, but as you mentioned, this Dragon's going to get picked up, and yeah, it's going to be their second Drake of the game. Whoopee, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but I mean, you know, this Baron is probably in their sights. The mid inhibitor is down, the top inhibitor is exposed. I mean, all it's going to take is just them pushing in, and one more solid fight should be, and we'll be talking about game 2.
Yeah, and this game is going to come to a close. You guys said you didn't want to be the doomer, but a catastrophic amount of throws will need to happen from Con Esports for LiT to get back into this game, right? Like, it's not just one, it's multiple throws and all the kills going on to like the Zeri and the Syndra, right? Like, that's what you have to do. Your late game insurance it's gone, it's expired. You unfortunately use AAA, and that's what happens if you're LiT Esports here. Is now Con are just gonna force the issue.
Yeah, let's see if LiT Esports are able to actually stop anything here. I mean, it just seems pretty doomer. We'll see what happens. I mean, we saw in that last fight, it was looking okay for them, and then it just wasn't, right? I actually thought that was a fight that LiT was going to win.
Oh, and now Mr. Q with the flash WQ.
Oh, big knockup. Knocking him back. Is Scorpio Ruko going in? This is the fight that they want to take, and you know they have to. JJ Luna is in there, but Absar's on the backside onto Shepard, who gets over the wall, but is now looking at Alistar in the face, but Absar can't get onto anybody except for JJ Luna. Rizwan, full HP, Dominus into the fight. Gets on top of Scorpio and is doing a lot of damage. Shepard is over the wall, safe and sound, but doesn't quite have the damage, but he's going to go over the wall! Shepard goes right into the croc, and he's faced it on him! Down goes JJ Luna, Scorpio the last one standing with a sliver of HP, in a fight that it looked like LiT had a shot in. Rizwan proves they're too strong.
The big brown croc is too much to handle for LiT Esports here. He dives in 1v5 and comes out 3 kills above the rest here, and they're going to take top lane inhib most likely. Oh no, they're just gonna back off here. They don't need it at the moment. Baron they're waiting for their team. They're probably gonna take Baron.
Oh yeah, it is Baron time, Shibby. This is a Baron angle if I've ever seen one. And Shibby, again, you can see the mechanics of the LiT Esports team fight, right? Like, it looked pretty good there. I think they team fight exceedingly well, and you saw it there, down 11k gold. I mean, this team fight was going pretty well for them, and then it wasn't. Shepard just goes over the wall, and, you know, I know you weren't dealing a lot of damage, but that's not a way you're going to deal more damage.
Yeah, jumping into the waiting jaws of Rizwan here. Unfortunately, like you said, if they were maybe like 6k down even, that might be a one fight for LiT Esports. As now, goes for the Baron steal. You got to, yeah, that's the hero, right? You lose your life, it is what it is, but if you take the Baron, you stall out just a little bit more. And now, the walk of shame coming out from the rest of LiT Esports, they're just going to have to go back into their bases as the rest of Khan is just advancing into the jungle.
Maybe it should have been a run of shame, but look at all the damage that comes down to Absol. But a nice shockwave there from mid too easy. The blast plant, blissfully, thankfully, keeping the rest of LiT Esports alive for right now. But, you know, Shibby, it is a 5v3 right now. Wistfully still has plenty of HP. Shepard is full health. Scorpio is full health. The health bars on the side of Khan Esports are just a little too hefty. Top lane inhibitor going down. They've got super minions about to spill into the base. Ruko is going to launch himself over to mid too easy. And now the fight's going to break out. JJ Luna doing a lot of damage. Big shutdown there for Scorpio. Kiwi is very low, but Ruko goes down. Shepard still half HP. Can they kill the Alistar? Scorpio gets it, but may have pushed up a little bit too far. Abzar hits him with the wind becomes lightning and takes him down. And now it's just wistfully Abzar and Rizwan. JJ Luna has to be the hero. The Nexus turrets getting lower and lower. They're just getting auto attacks in as they can and pulling Luna from back and forth. Banks goes down, Luna goes down, and the Nexus goes down. Game 1 to Khan Esports X.
Yeah, in just a dominating fashion, right? Khan Esports, yeah, they misstepped in the beginning, but after that, fight after fight after fight after fight, Khan Esports just takes the dub, and every single member contributed, right? Every one of them had a helping hand in this win. It wasn't just Absar. It wasn't just Wistful. It wasn't just Rizwan. It was everybody on their team contributing and just kind of dominating the other side. Unfortunately for LiT Esports, they go down 0-1, and you can't really take too much away from that, right? You just kind of died a lot. You just kind of took really bad skirmishes, and then the game was over.
Yeah, I think they got baited, right? Because their early skirmishes were pretty good, and then their skirmishes got worse and worse. And then as the game went on, their fighting got a little bit better, but it was just a bit of a gold diff. You just get smacked by a full wallet, and you know, the only coins that are coming out are from you. You're looking like Sonic. You get hit, the coins come out. And Wistfully had a really quiet game. I actually think it's pretty interesting. They did not go the Cleaver build, which has been getting so popular. 6-1 and 13 though, only dying once. But really, I think the stars of the show were Absar and mid too easy. Give credit to Rizwan where it's due in the later fights. But I mean, you know, the mid jungle duo just absolutely blew away Ruko and Scorpio. And Ruko and Scorpio were playing well early on in the game too.
Yeah, it was just individual plays from them, right? Like Scorpio roaming down to the bot lane when Absar was, you know, waiting in that bush, as well as Ruko after the kill onto Scorpio going in for that scuttle crab, also paying with his life, right? And it was just kind of these desync fights between them. There was that one moment where Scorpio died, respawned, teleported to the dragon, and died again, and that was kind of where the game blew open, because a whole bunch of gold after that skirmish went into the hands of people like mid too easy, like Wistful, and then it was just, well, you've lost your bottom lane win condition, your mid 2v2 win condition is done, and oh, by the way, Rizwan solo kills your set in the top lane, and he's down 30, 40, 50 CS now. It was kind of just complete domination from Khan Esports, and we talked about if they play to the level that I expect them to, it should be a quick 2-0, and a 27-minute game is step one for that.
Yep, and it looks like I'm going to get to keep my channel points, Shibby. I'm pretty happy about that. So thanks for the hot tip. I'll be sure to ask you again in game 2, but we're going to take a very short break as the teams are going to go part ways for a little bit, maybe go over what worked and what didn't. And when we come back, we'll see you for the game 2 draft between Khan Esports X and LiT Esports Blue. right, Otters, we are back for the Game 2 draft here between LiT Esports Blue and Con Esports X. And yeah, Game 1, not so hot for LiT Esports. They looked okay early. So if they take this early game that they had, and like the early game, and then mix it up with, you know, something a little bit better than what we saw in the second half of the early game, if that makes sense, then they'll be okay.
I mean, you know, you sound like Professor X, you know, the Powerpuff Girls, you sugar, spice, everything nice, and eventually you might get something good, but the Chemical X came in and unfortunately destroyed all of LiT Esports' plan here. But, you know, like we mentioned, Con has the upper hand, like, you know, elo-wise, you know, player skill-wise, their solo lanes are just kind of a bit better than LiT Esports, and especially if you're playing with the sub, in this case, JJ Luna, it doesn't seem like they're practiced completely right now. Is Con Esports is going to be on the red side this time around. LiT will be on blue side. So that first pick prio will be very interesting as the Jarvan gets banned out here. So yeah, like I said, that's not going to slip through pick and ban. Zin's out as well. So they're taking away all the gore drinker junglers away from LiT Esports. And the first trauma ban comes in. LiT Esports takes the Renekton off the table.
Yeah, the bans are a little different here. Con Esports didn't want to give away that Jin Zhao to be, you know, first pick because Jin Zhao has certainly risen on in priority, Shibby. The teams have indeed swapped sides, and man, this jungle pool is getting real thin here. Listen, I feel pretty bad for Ruko because the pickings are a little slim.
I mean, he was on the Zac not too long ago, right? Like it was one of those things where, like, what are you realistically going to pick here? He might just end up opting for the Zac again. He didn't really see it as a problem. I mean, he did have some questionable engages and had some questionable fights. But instead, they're going to take the Xayah B1. I thought there was going to be a lot of Kai'Sa prio from these two teams, simply because both of their AD carries, it's the most played for both of them. But like you mentioned, a couple nerfs here and there may have just kind of knocked it in priority.
Yeah, there's just better options at this point, to be quite honest with you. And Xayah is a quintessential first pick AD carry and everything that you want in one of them, right? Because you have the ability to protect yourself with your ultimate, and you got a fair amount of power in lane. This is the other quintessential AD carry, by the way. This is the really good one on the patch that you just hope that you don't care what the other team takes. You're just gonna push forward and deal damage.
Yeah, and it's weird that Ashe has kind of risen in priority because she hasn't really gotten any changes herself. It's just kind of the other AD carries around her have gotten a little bit weaker. Some of the other supports that you would typically pair with Ashe have gotten a little stronger, right? We've been seeing more engaged supports coming out rather than enchanters, right? I mean, obviously, Alistar being one of them, but like the Leona, the Rel, you can just, you know, draft your whole engage in that bot lane with an Ashe pick, and you can just worry about damage across the board. As Wukong is going to be locked in potentially. I'm going to assume it's going to be a jungle pick, and Vi as well for LiT Esports. So a lot of lockdown here. Xayah Khan as well. You mentioned Ashe being a really good pick. If I'm Con Esports AD carry, I want to go home. I want to just go to sleep. Yeah, yep. I hate life. I wanted to say something else, but I don't think I would have been allowed to.
No. And I do want to point out how quickly you forget that, you know, in 13-12, Ashe caught a lot of buffs. The Frost Shot, passive bonus damage went up. The volley base damage, you know, went up as well. You know, that's something to remember. But I was thinking to myself as they picked the Ashe, it's like, oh, you know what? Vi coming back into the meta would be fantastic here, right? She was in the meta a ton when you saw Zeri. You know, even Nautilus could potentially make a comeback here, but obviously Rakan with the Xayah is exactly what you're looking for. But I do like that Con Esports goes with the Orianna this time.
They took it away too, right? From LiT. They want to take that Vi-Ori combo, right? The instant ball delivery system, especially if you're playing Ashe, you're probably just praying to your mid lane, like, please just don't give them Ori. Please don't give them an easy way for me to get ulted every single fight here, as we do get the second round of bans coming in. The Syndra being taken away, the Ori as well. LiT Esports do not have a lot of mid laners to pick from here right now, right? The Zed is available, the Cassiopeia, maybe the Yasuo if you want to take that in the Ori, but like the typical mid lane mage matchups are gone. You could sneak in a Victor pick if you're feeling spicy, as the Heimerdinger does get taken away from Khan.
Yeah, I like what Khan's done here. They've shifted all of what they wanted to do, and they've just said, you know what? Last game, we banned out your top laners. This game, we're going to ban out your mid laners. We're going to take the one you played last game. We're going to ban the other two that you play. And you're just going to have to deal with it. We're going to see Thresh come in for the side of Con Esports. I'm very excited about that pick. You know, I love my Thresh. Thresh has a fine combination as well. The Lantern can do wonders. And now the question is, you're picking bottom of the barrel here if you're LiT Esports, and your top laner is getting counterpicked too.
Yeah, your top laner is going to get counterpicked for sure here. And we know Con Esports, they like to play through that top lane if they can, right? Rizwan obviously had a dominant performance on the Renekton as the Yasuo cannon gets locked in. So this is the slam R button team composition, right? Everybody presses R on the side of LiT Esports, and you pray to God that on Con Esports side, everybody gets hit, right? I mean, you blind pick the cannon here. What would the counter pick here? I don't think it's Teemo. Unfortunately, you're messing with my heart right now. You could go something for like the Gnar if you want to play that kind of ranged versus ranged matchup. We are going to opt in for potentially a Jace pick here into the cannon, and you can get a lot of poke down. And if that cannon doesn't play the lane correctly, that hammer form coming out of Jace could just do wonders right now. But I am afraid that LiT Esports have drafted themselves a very, very good team fight composition here, while Con, they've kind of got to pick and pull where they do their fights.
Yeah, you know, LiT Esports, I like that they're going all in. You know, I looked at it and I'm like, okay, this is cute, right? You're going to just hope that this Rakan, Yasuo, Canada is going to pop off in team fights, which is certainly possible. And Con Esports, I was like, okay, let's see what you're going to pick last, tie the team comp together nicely. I gotta be honest, Jace wasn't really on the menu for that. And it, you know, it should be, I don't know about you, it just feels a little discordant with what Con Esports wants to do.
I don't think this Jace was going to be picked for the team at all. I don't think Con Esports' top laner, Rizwan, wants to pick for the team, right? He wants to play for that more lane dominant pick, or he wants to play for something that can allow him to at least express his mechanics, allow him to naturally get a lead if he plays the lane right here. The rest of the team comp from Con is fine, right? You have an Ashe, you have a Wukong, you have an Orianna, right? These are pretty good at team fighting. The Wukong Orianna, you know, team fight is pretty damn good, especially if you can sneak that ball onto the dash, right? The double knockup, essentially giving Ashe that space to kind of work with here, especially into what is virtually a pretty short range team composition, right? Coming out from the Yasuo and the Vi. Your Ashe can potentially do work. You have the safety, like you said, from the added Thresh Lantern. Jace is simply there to keep Kennen in check and not allow him to give him a free lane. And come team fights and potentially Dragons and Rift Heralds and Barons, you've got a way to whittle LiT Esports down, right? You've got a way to force the wind wall out if you have to. And if that's the case, then Jace has done his job.
Yeah, you get to do that first. Sure, that works out pretty well. The thing I still find, even with these teams that are really, really good and these players that are really good, is that sometimes teams don't exactly set up for objectives very well. You know, I actually question how often they're going to be like, okay, we're going to get to the objective first, and Jace is going to fire Shock Blast, and we're going to burn Yasuo's Wind Wall so we can Ashel. I really question how often that's going to happen, because you know Wukong's going to be like, I see opening, I go in, right? Like, he's just going to go. You saw what he did last game, right? On that Xin Zhao. I expect nothing but engagements to come through at this point, but no, you are correct. And the thing is, if they don't get that poke down, it looks like it's like LiT Esports favored to me at the very least.
LiT Esports has to be the one determining the fight, right? They can't be the ones reacting, in my opinion. They have to be fighting on their terms. They've got to potentially get the cannon flank off of a TP, right? They have really good buttons, but if they kind of use it a bit wastefully, or if they kind of use it in a more reactionary sense, then yeah, you're not going to get the full kind of value out of something like a Kennen Yasuo, like a Vi Yasuo. Once again, the mid 2v2 for LiT is looking very, very nice. You know, come level 6, you know, potentially even earlier than that, this Yasuo Vi could put a lot of pressure onto this Orianna. And, you know, LiT Esports, their mid laner, mid too easy, he just got the Orianna treatment, right? He just got that, like, kind of, I'm going to get ganked, I'm going to get bullied, this kind of stuff here and there. But now, you know, kind of the shoe is on the other foot.
Yeah, we'll see how Scorpio deals with the melee into ranged matchup as the teams are set and ready, but we are in the spectator delay. So you know what that means. We're going to take a very short break, and when we return, we'll be on the Rift for what could be the final game of the set, as Con Esports looking for a clean 2-0, but LiT Esports looking for game 3. All right, Otters. Game two. LiT Esports X versus LiT Esports Blue, I should say, versus Con Esports X. They got all these crazy names, but you're gonna have a crazy name if you signed up for Coachify.gg, because it's a new platform for esport coaches. Zero commissions. Sign up is free. Anybody can create a profile that is Coachify, COACHIFY.GG. Should be everybody. We talk about the .com bubble. What about the GG bubble?
I was gonna say you might want to put the X on LiT Esports based on what happened last game.
That's also true, right?
But yeah, I know the GG yeah, there's a lot of weird like .com stuff happening. I mean, how many times have we seen like something esports? No offense, LiT Esports and Con Esports, but I mean, we can't get more like interesting with the names. We can't like why esports? I know you're competing in esports. That's what this whole thing is about. Give me something cool. Like what is it? Untamed Swag Demon Lords of Destruction or something like that. I don't even know their name.
The Sigma Lords.
yeah, that was a pretty cool name. But enough about the names. Enough about GG. Enough about esports and all this other stuff. We've got a game to cast here, and right now, pretty typical jungle starts from both of these guys. Apsar starting on his red side or his red buff here. Equally so, Ruko starting for his red buff as well here. So I think JJ Luna is going to get some love in that top lane. Rizwan might have a bit of trouble if this Vi decides to visit that top lane here. But based off of what happened last game, Yanni, what would you like to see, LiT Esports just do differently?
I was going to ask you the same thing, Shibby. I'm the one who should be asking you this, right? I mean, LiT Esports just needs to play the early game like they did last time with a little bit less inting, right?
I mean, that's a pretty basic, you're
here,
basic rundown.
Yeah, you're here for all of, the fancy smancy, what's the word? Analysis. I'm just here. Go yell at what happened on screen,
I mean, but you couldn't have really said it any better, right? I mean, you just play what you did, a little bit less inting, maybe play a little bit more in sync, right? I think Ruko and Scorpio had the right idea going into game one, right? Pick on mid too easy, pick on the Orianna, and just keep doing that. But unfortunately, they picked up that early kill, and now Absar is just visiting mid lane here, forcing this Yasuo out of mid lane right now. But Scorpio is just going to be able to push that in and just relieving some of that pressure once again. Absar, he is a mid laner's best friend.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if I'm ever playing mid lane, I want Absar on my squad, right? Because I know he's going to help me. I'll be like, come gank for me. But one thing that I find really interesting, actually, we are going to see Ruko show up to the top lane, and they are going to get first blood onto Rizwan. JJ Luna, Ruko getting the job done.
Yeah, Ruko did the full red clear into top lane, gank to the try, and we talked about it, right? Because he started on that bot side, I had a feeling that Rizwan was going to get ganked, especially if you're playing the Jace, right? Who wants to play pushed up, who wants to like kind of poke you under the tower, wants to force you under that turret. You open yourself up to these early ganks, and Ruko with some pretty smart pathing. I'm not going to say, it was insanely intelligent or it was crazy, right? I mean, top laners by now should know when junglers relatively are gonna gank and should be able to place their green or yellow ward down here, the trinket ward. But unfortunately, Ruko just hit Rizwan on timing he wasn't expecting and gets a kill for his top laner.
Yeah, and Absar, because he went to the mid lane, they saw him go to the bot side, so Ruko was like, if it's free, it's for me, right? And just gets up there. And right now, I want to shout out Scorpio for doing pretty well in the CS department here. Up a couple for sure. As we've seen engage on the bot lane. Kiwi gets ignited, and they're in a hot pursuit of this Thresh. The hook does land. It's going to give you a stun for long enough to make sure that this could be a 1-for-1, but the healing actually came out. Wistfully will thankfully get the kill. That could have been disaster, but Banks claims his life, and now Absar is here. But Banks will be able to just find his way out.
A 2-for-1 overall, and LiT Esports, maybe they're just taking some of that advice that you mentioned. Int a little bit less and just play slightly more aggressive and together here. As now, Ruko picked up a kill for his top lane. Shepard has picked up a kill for himself in the Zyra Khan lane. And yeah, Wistful got the kill back. But overall, I mean, right now, it's turning out very similar to game one for LiT. That early game lead, that early aggression coming in, now they just need to be able to keep keep it to themselves, right? They can't just give it away.
Yeah, and we did see this last time though, right? And Shepard was able to get a kill there for sure, but wistfully getting that other kill back was pretty big. And you can see Ruko down to about half HP, but will be able to just walk out mid too easy. Not that strong yet, although Kiwi is in the area. Second flame missed here. The engagement does go on to Scorpio. There's going to be a Hex Flash over the wall, and Scorpio has to flash away, but a well-timed wind wall means that he will keep his life.
Yeah, Scorpio held that wind wall for the longest time, and because of that, Rome wistfully pays for it with a flash. I'm surprised that Kiwi didn't throw the hook when Scorpio entered the bush, right? Because like you mentioned, I think you said it a while ago, Scorpio and a champion, if they lose vision of you, or if they can't see you, then that means that, that hook will come out of nowhere here.
I said that in a normal game that we played, actually. Yeah, or it might have been ranked flex. I think it was ranked flex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you lose vision, you have no idea where the hook's coming from. But I like the play there. It seemed like he was a little too out of vision. So I like the play of Hex flashing over the wall. I just think that he couldn't wait because you could have caught the Yasuo while he was in the middle of the Q animation. But, but I like the attempt there. You get the flash anyway, so it looks like Scorpio probably would have just been able to flash it. So you did what you could there as Kiwi, and you did really what you could here if you're on the side of Khan, but you just don't have any gas in the tank right now. I mean, once Absolar hits level 6, it is going to be a different story.
Yeah, he's just got to get to that point. And now Ruko and the rest of the gang is going to potentially go on to Abzar here. Nice W away. Very, very clean, but that's going to concede the dragon. LiT Esports are going to pick up a nice little Infernal buff for themselves, a little bit of ability power, a little bit of attack damage. That's nice if you're especially on like the Yasuo cannon side where you can have a little bit more pack to your punch here. Wistfully and Kiwi, though, I don't expect them to really go for any more fights, especially against the Zyra Khan. This Ashe Thresh, it's a very utility-based lane here. As that was a nice play coming out from Banks, but unfortunately, Rakan just has way too much movement.
Yeah, and you can see some of these small power spikes, Ruko and Absar, they are on Sheen, so that the dragon gonna help out Ruko just a little bit more, and things are gonna go crazy once the champions have hit their power spikes. Scorpio will be able to get the kill, will be able to walk at a turret range, a solo bolo for the Yasuo.
And I'm surprised that mid too easy didn't flash and then try to ult the Yasuo back into the turret, at least to try to get a 1-for-1 here. But Scorpio, the moment that tornado hit, I was like, oh, he's going to go and he's going to get the kill here. Unfortunately, mid too easy does go down. He doesn't have teleport as well, so he might miss a couple minions from this wave here. Nice play from Scorpio. You'll love to see when your Yasuo just gets the solo kill.
Oh, and Banks just wants to go in. He gets flayed, but he will not be denied. Kiwi is going to go down to the Ignite. Yes, Banks will get credit for that one. They're second of the game, and wistfully just can't do anything in response.
I love the fact that LiT Esports bot lane used their level 6 advantage. The moment they take 6, you saw Banks just go full on in, and that was because of that early 2-for-1 kill that they got, that they allowed them to get the EXP lead. It allowed them to work for that kill there, and mid too easy. Oh my God, he is getting sliced and diced and cut up, man. Death by 1,000 shanks.
Yeah, mid looking a little difficult here, buddy. This is a matchup that can quickly get turned on its head because Yasuo is just one of those real slippery champions that moves a little bit faster than your ball. However, let's see if Absar, mid laner's best friend, is going to be able to help him out, but Scorpio using his E wisely and getting over the wall.
Yeah, and he burned the E for what was a Wukong Flash E ultimate, right? So much was put into that from Khan Esports, and they got nothing out of it. That's unfortunate, right? Especially if you're the Wukong, you want to try to get that Flash ultimate play onto more members. As mid too easy now, he's gonna be killed again. This time by the help of Banks here, but Scorpio having himself a bit of a game.
The revenge game from Scorpio with a little bit of help from Banks. You're going to cash in on a plate there. And on the roam, Shepard is also going to cash in on a plate. A little while ago, we didn't mention it. Ruko did pick up the Rift Herald as well. I mean, it's all LiT Esports right now. Looks like they've woken up here. And Kiwi is very low. And they are just an auto, maybe one more away from going down. or they will be an ultimate away from going down. Wistfully now at level 7, does get rooted up down to about half HP.
Ruko's gonna dive.
Ruko has that ultimate available. You called the dive out, and he goes back over the wall. They're going one way, they're going the other way, and Absar gets out. Ruko, I think he just could have gone on Wistfully.
Comical display of abilities used. Ruko ults Absar, who took the blast plant over the wall. Then Absar W's back over the wall.
The Dukes.
Yeah, I mean, just a bunch of movement. Ice your ankles there, unfortunately, by you. You got played. You got put in the spin cycle as a whole bunch of cooldowns get traded. And like you mentioned, yeah, Ruko probably could just flashed Ard the Ash and would have been fine here because of, kind of the lack of Thresh there for that safety. But I mean, even despite that happening, LiT Esports have gotten themselves a nice 4,000 gold lead at the 11-minute mark. As Scorpio, he's low. He's got the NATO ready.
Yeah, Scorpio is carrying a shutdown right now. So that is something to be well aware of because, well, the gold lead, I mean, it's 4K, man. That's actually huge. I was just looking up and I was like, oh, it's not that bad. No, it is actually that bad right now, 11 minutes into the game. I mean, it's 1,100 in the mid lane. It's almost 1,000 in the bot lane. The top side, it's 600. And then that extra 1,000 is on Banks between the Banks and Kiwi gap. So if you want to discount the support, which you really shouldn't, but, if you want to do it that way, if you're low elo, then, it's only about 3,000 gold. But a Rift Herald is getting put on the bottom side. Absar coming in for the regank. I think Scorpio might be a little surprised by that, but Absar, because he doesn't have his flash, can't do anything, and this means bot outer turret goes down for the first of the game.
Yeah, and Shepard is just going to get, kind of direct injected a lot of that gold. And he's going to pick up potentially, he might be a Kraken Slayer, or he's actually going to go for the Mythic here. And he's just going to have so much strength. And yeah, you can't contest this dragon, unfortunately, if you're the side of Con Esports right now. And every time Absar has ganked Scorpio, he's been able to get out simply because there's been a really good Pixel Bush pink ward placed by Scorpio or either Ruko just to keep his mid laner safe. And unfortunately, like you said, Absar doesn't have that flash still, so he's not really able to close the distance. As long as Scorpio just avoids the gank or, walks out, he's completely fine here. And he's allowed to play super, super aggressive, which has allowed him to get that, 2-kill lead, a level lead as well for himself. This Yasuo is looking very scary come team fight phase.
This Yasuo is looking pretty scary now, too. But yeah, you're absolutely right. We were talking about, this LiT Esports team looks a little cute here with what they're doing, but they've gone from cute to brute, my friend, because Banks is going to knock up a couple of people and do a lot of damage in the team fight. You can see Scorpio chasing down Wistfully and a perfectly timed wind wall. It's just a matter of if Scorpio can knock him up. He's going to knock up the Wukong, and now he's going to go after Absar, who knocks him up himself. Absar down to very low HP. Scorpio going to claim a kill there, and he is going to knock up Wistfully. Oh my god, don't tell me that Scorpio's going to get the job done in a potential 3v1. He is going to go in on Kiwi. He does miss the Hurricane, and that means Wistfully picks up the kill, but he's going to go right into Ruko. Ruko just needs to get one more auto attack down, doesn't have that ultimate available, and they will get the kill with the E. Good double flay there, but this means just Kiwi has nowhere to go. He's got no team to come bail him out, and Ruko is gonna get another.
Oh my god, a chaotic turn of events, right? We saw a mid lane fight break out. Mid too easy ended up dying to both Banks and Shepard. Bot lane Scorpio ends up trading 1-for-1, is really able to just kind of stall enough time for Banks and Ruko to run from mid to bot and pick up the remaining pieces here. A bit of a desperation play from Khan, but 7,000 gold now at the 14-minute mark. LiT Esports, they saw what happened game one, and they said, you know what? We're just going to do it right back to you.
It's lit, fam, to be quite honest with you. They gave away a shutdown, and it doesn't matter. And mid too easy is, I guess he's best friends with Owen, because he's 0-4.
He's not having a fun time.
No,
right? Like, he got picked on in game one quite a bit, but he had Absar in the back pocket with the Zinzao, just ready for the counter ganks, ready to kind of keep him afloat. But right now, mid too easy, he's died so many times, and it's unfortunate because of how he's playing. He's trying to navigate it carefully. He's just trying to get as much CS as he can, but Sometimes there's 3 people in his mid lane. There's 4. They're diving him. It's just impossible at this point unless he just hugs the tower. And even then, it might be still a tough task to stay alive.
You remember that Afremo clip where he's like, support is so easy? You know,
of course, who doesn't?
Starts zoning everything. Yeah, mid too easy is like mid is so easy and goes to attack Scorpio and just gets ganked from all sides. So we see second Rift Herald going to go down here in the mid lane. It's going to take the mid outer turret, and now they're going to push forward. This comp that was designed to get on top of the Ashe does so, and they will be able to claim a kill. But Ruko going to get flayed under the turret. The last tower shot will not be able to take him down. Now Absol wants to get in there. A flash knockup is going to claim a kill, and now they're going after Shepard, who pops the ultimate to avoid the hook, and then the Blade Caller just slicing him up, man. It's another one for LiT Esports.
Yeah, and mid too easy. Could not get close enough to get that shockwave down. Even with Shepard blowing the ultimate, it still was enough. And Scorpio, you got to answer him. It's tough, especially in the solo lane. Is you're going to have to send more than one person. He eats 2 tower shots, though. That's half his health gone already. So that's going to stop that bot lane push. And as we pan to the top lane, it's just been kind of quiet since that Ruko gank in the early game. I don't think Rizwan has gotten the advantage that he wanted to, or kind of the help that he needed in this lane. And like we said, Jace wasn't picked for this team comp, but come team fights, I think he's going to be very, very much outclassed here, right? Luna is just going to be able to press R onto the Ashe, onto the Orianna, and Rizwan can't really do too much to help his team out.
Yeah, it's looking pretty rough here. And you know, they're not going to be able to get their feet set for these objectives, right? Because they're so far behind. So that Jace damage that you were hoping for when it came time for objectives, it's going to be negligible, or it's not going to come in at all, right? Because you're just going to get turned around on and engaged on, and it's going to be bad news. You can see this dragon coming up in about 25 seconds right now. So, you know, it's about that time. They want to make a fight happen. They want to get something done. LiT Esports wants to increase their lead and put themselves on sole point. Just 17 and a half minutes into the game should be.
Yeah, and it's a Hextech soul as well, right? And once that, you know, gets taken by LiT Esports, it becomes more and more impossible for Con Esports to come back here. And unfortunately, Con, they do have to concede this objective. They're just not ready to fight, and they don't want to throw what little chance they have of trying to get back into this game over that third dragon. You have to suspect that when it does come to Soul Point in about 5 minutes, that's where they're going to make their stand, if not at the Baron coming up in 2.
Yeah, and now I like this trade coming out here. They're going to pick up an objective bounty. They're only able to get the one, but, you know, you'll take it, right? Anything that you can get to try to close this gold gap, because it's dangerously getting to a, you know, double 1,000-digit gold lead or whatever you want to call it. It's going to get to 10K, whether you like it or not, because this mid-inner turret is going to go down, and all that gold is going to go over to Scorpio.
Yeah, that's 600 fat stacks going into his pocket here, and he's a very scary Yasuo. He hasn't hit the recall button yet. I assume he's going to come back with a mythic in hand here, just in time for this Baron that's coming up in about a minute and a half. As we pan to the gold here, it's really close in the top lane, but you just look at that mid lane and jungle differential, and also Shepard having a whopping 3,000 gold nearly over Wistfully. Yeah, you're playing Ashe, you're playing utility, but you have to at least bring some sort of damage into these team fights, just because Xayah is just so far ahead.
Yeah, and the problem is Ashe has so much carry potential nowadays too, but it's just not going to happen because the rest of your team is so far behind this game. I mean, you know, Wistfully didn't really give up a whole lot. Lane looked totally fine. It's just the byproduct of everything falling apart around you. So let's take stock of the situation here, right? Because this map is looking pretty bad, and you can see Thresh is going to be the one to get caught out, and you're not like Rakan. You're going to have nowhere to go. You are going to flash over the wall, though, so that means Mr. Kiwiism is going to be able to find a way out. Ruko doesn't really want to give up the play yet. Gets knocked up, gets hooked. The Ashe ult doesn't land, but Absol gets the kill. You went a little too deep for that one, buddy. Scorpio knocks up everybody, and the damage coming through. Hook lands on the Banks, but Banks looking for a little bit more. There's the double knock up onto a couple of key members. A double kill there for Scorpio. A triple kill for Scorpio. He does not quite get out of the turret range, so he goes down. But Rizwan is the last one alive here, trying desperately to get out of the way of Shepard. But Shepard takes him down with autos, and that is an ace.
Yeah, and we thought Con Esports maybe had the fight, right? Thresh gets out. Ruko goes down, but Scorpio, like you mentioned, hits the 3-man tornado onto mid too easy, onto Wistfully, onto Absol, and is able to just put the damage down. And if that didn't go well enough, if Scorpio couldn't get the kills, you had Shepard and Banks coming in for the cleanup duty along with JJ Luna. An impossible task, and Con Esports played it as best as they could, but unfortunately the gold lead is just, at this point, Yanni, I'm going to say it, insurmountable.
It's looking kind of Jover, but it's not quite there yet. So we'll see if Con is able to do anything. We saw that LiT Esports in the last game was able to fight effectively from behind. Let's see if that's going to be the case here. You saw in that last fight, at least there was a glimmer of hope there, but not to be had. And, you know, these topside turrets are still available for the side of LiT Esports, which means, you know, they could just go and take them when they want and get that extra gold in their pockets and extend this gold lead even further. And just, you know, it is a wallet diff currently. And, you know, not only that, but the team fight is just better for LiT Esports too. If you're Con Esports, you need a miracle and a half, as you said.
Yeah, and Ash is going for the really expensive build too, right? Kraken, Triforce, I'm going to assume she's going to cap it off with the Runins. She is very far away from that, and she really doesn't start spiking until she gets that Runins, right? Kraken, Triforce, a lot of good single target damage, but once you get the Runins, that's when it really starts to hurt with the empowered Q as the Ash ult goes wide, does not force a summoner, an ultimate, nothing out of Shepard as he's ice in his veins right now. 7-1-2 on the Xayah at the moment. Him and Scorpio have been the hard carries of this map.
Yeah, and you mentioned Shepard with the ice in the veins. Well, wistfully, their hands might be a little cold there as that arrow looked to slip out of there. Looking like a bar of soap, you know? Not quite landing, just a little outside. But
drop
yeah,
it.
Yeah, you're right. You know, Shepard and Scorpio have been doing so much this game and have been the quintessential 2 carries. And you know, by all accounts, it looks like we're headed to a game 3, Shibby. I am really excited to see what the mid and bot lane carries of these teams pull out in game 3. But we are still in game 2 for now, right? It's not over yet because they're still in the game.
Yeah, and LiT Esports, they took the 2-0 prediction from me to heart right now. They said, no, we're going to go to 3 games. We're going to go the full distance right now. As I mentioned, I don't think Con Esports wanted to fight that 3rd dragon. They were probably saving up as much gold as they can, and they're going to fight this Hexagons. Now Wistfully, oh my lord!
Holy crap, Wistfully's just dead, man. Rizwan's in the thick of things and is go over the wall to try to take out Shepard, but lost his teammate in the process. It's a triple kill for Shepard. Mid too easy, down to about half HP. Ruko gonna clean that one up. That one is an ace, and that is gonna be Soul.
Yeah, they're going to get Soul. I mean, we've got 20 seconds on both Kiwi and Wistfully. Mid lane wave is coming in. I'm pretty sure if they want to, they could try to go for the end here, but they're going to play it safe. They're going to go for the double inhib in the top, or sorry, in the bottom in the mid lane here. Smart play. You cash the golden from that fight, from the, you know, from the inhibitors and everything. Wait a minute. Has an FF just been put in? Is that legal? Is that allowed?
I mean, listen, I don't know, Shibby. All I know is, you know, we saw that at an even higher level of play, and it was A-okay. So, you know, hopefully the Blue Otter staff is not a little too upset at that because, man, if I was Con Esports X, I'd be doing the same thing too, man. Get me out.
What? Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any rules against this one, right? We're not... I'm going to assume that it's okay. You FF, yeah. You decided, hey, we want to go on to the next game. That's fine. You rob LiT Esports of the ability to do the mental damage to you a little bit. So I'm not sure around the rules. I doubt there is any really in regards to FFing. But we go on to game 3 and LiT Esports, they just copied the playbook from Con in game 1 and said, we'll just stomp you right back. We'll pick on your mid lane. We'll pick on your jungler. And that's exactly what happened. I want to see them move away from this Orianna pick. I'm not really in love with it. And honestly, mid too easy has not been piloting it that well, right? I saw virtually 0 big shockwaves come out of him. Even in game 1, a lot of those shockwaves were because LiT Esports was over chasing rather than him comboing with his Xin or comboing with his Alistar here. So that's where, you know, I kind of want to see him move away from it, maybe pick something a little bit more lane dominant or maybe something more weird if he has that champion pool to draw from, as we've seen before. You can go something like a Cassiopeia potentially, but yeah, I just want to see them move away from this Ori. I'm not in love with it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad pick here, but you certainly need to have something around it to make it work. And, that's a big problem that they had, right? They set themselves up for failure by picking that Orianna so early. It means that Scorpio was like, well, I'll just pick whatever I love into Orianna. Clearly, they liked the Yasuo into it, and it paid off immensely. 7, 2, and 4, along with Shepard, your 2 featured carries of the game there for LiT Esports. But this does mean, Shibby, that we do have a series on our hands. So we're going to take a very short break as the teams prepare themselves for Game 3, and we will prepare ourselves for the Game 3 draft in just a few moments. Welcome back, Otters. Con Esports X. They're going to be on the blue side this time. LiT Esports going to be on the red side. And Shibby, we talked about last game. It what didn't go so hot for the side of Con Esports. So both of these teams showing that while they can have very strong games, they are not invincible.
Yeah, I mean, you FF it. You're like, whatever, let's get to the next game. Blue side priority seems to be the winning side here as Con. After taking that loss, they're going to go onto the blue side here, LiT. Let's see what they end up cooking up for their counter pick here, because last time it didn't really work out. But this time around, if Con, takes their mid laner super early, you could open yourself up to that Yasuo ban, as they are just going to take it out. The trauma ban taken through. Con don't want to see any of it, but the thing is, LiT Esports mid laner, he's got a Zed, he's got a Syndra, he's got a couple other, an Ari, he's got a couple other, stomp your lane, mid lane face picks that he can go to. I don't know if Yasuo is necessarily a problem, as it was more just the Orianna, but this signals to me that they want to take it again for the third time.
Interesting thing to note is that in the last draft, because LiT Esports was on the blue side, they took away 2 top laners. This time around, it's going to be all junglers. So this Renekton and this Aurelia are available. We are going to see another first pick Xayah coming out from the team that's on the blue side here. And, it's okay with it, right? Xayah certainly wouldn't have had the problems that Ashe had in that last game. And you saw it. Xayah was on the winning side.
Yeah, picking Ashe a little bit early, especially, can be kind of rough.
Whoopsies.
Especially when the Vi is taken and everything. It's a good ADC, don't get me wrong,
Not
but
bad at all.
you've got to kind of pick it in the right situations here. And LiT Esports just, you know what, we're going to pick two champions that completely counter it. As now, finally, Kai'Sa rears its ugly head into this draft. Is finally.
What do you mean ugly? Hold on. Kai'Sa's great. Kai'Sa as a champion is fantastic. I don't want to hear any more of your Kai'Sa slander. All right, you know I love me some Kai'Sa.
I'm so bored of Ludens. I'm so bored of Ludens, guys.
Well, you know what? Tell them to build differently. They pair it up with a Rakan, which ain't too bad. We're going to see the Maokai get locked in for Con Esports, so that's a new one. Alistar, we're going to go back to that, back to what worked in game one. But this Maokai pick certainly going to throw a wrench into plans. Kai'Sa does suffer from a lot of the same issues as Ashe.
So I know what you're thinking.
What am I thinking?
You're thinking this Maokai is going to go into the jungle,
I swear to God. If you try to tell me that this is Alistar top.
Con Esports mid laner has 19 games on Maokai right now. In solo queue.
As mid lane?
I have to assume I saw some mid lane Maokai. So I'm just going to say this. Everybody, I know you're thinking it's a Maokai jungle. But it damn well could be a Maokai mid.
Oh my God. Wait,
yeah.
No, he plays Maokai top. Wait.
I saw some mid in there.
I saw
some mid in there. Yeah, I saw some mid in there.
No. I mean, I see Maokai top here. I see mostly. Yeah, no, there's a Maokai mid. All right. You know what? I am. I'm a little stunned right now, but you know what? All right, I'll hear you out on this one, Shibby. And you know what? It would be a really perfect subversion of expectations. I don't really see if LiT did their homework very well. We are going to see a Sylas get locked in here. We didn't see that last time around with the Alistar pick, but now LiT Esports is a great response, especially he gets to take the Maokai ultimate too.
Oh yeah, Sylas is so good into Alistar and Maokai. The only way it could be better if this Con Esports just locks in a Malphite, right? And then Sylas is absolutely feasting ultimate wise here. Even the Xayah ultimate's not too bad if you want to play like really aggressive and then just use the Xayah ult to kind of bail you out and reset your cooldowns a little bit. Sylas pick is really good here right now as Con Esports, the Jackson Camille get banned out into that top lane. They want to give Rizwan an advantageous matchup here as LiT Esports have rotated both their mid laner and now their jungler. So they're going to save the top lane counter pick for themselves here. And Con, they've got to lock in both their top lane and what I am banking on is their jungler.
Oh no, Shibby.
Maokai's going mid.
Shibby, they banned two mid laners. They don't know, Shibby. They don't know, or they're, to be honest, they may be anticipating it, but are just going to use those bans to cover all of their bases.
Cover the flex.
And I really like, one thing I want to point out is, whoa, we're going to see a Corki lock-in come here. So, all right, it looks like it'll probably be Corki in the mid lane here, so I'm not quite sure where this Maokai is going to go. But one thing I want to shout out these teams for, because something you don't often see, at least this early in the season, these teams do have distinct drafts when they're on blue and red side. I really like that.
Yeah, definitely playing around with the pick order a lot and, understanding that, hey, depending on what side we're at, we can really try to get the max value out of certain champions. As, like you said, Corki gets locked into that mid lane. So a double AD carry composition coming out from Con Esports scales very well. It was one of those compositions that was super popular early on into the professional scene, right? This season, we saw like NA, EU, all these teams running like Tristana and Xayah or Tristana Kai'Sa. Corki was one of those AD carries that kind of got left out a little bit. But he's been pretty solid when we see the Azir here, and he's going to play that ranged matchup into the Sylas. So I'm just going to assume, like you said, it's an Aatrox top, not banned out this time from LiT Esports. It is Rizwan's highest picked champion right now, and is, though got some changes, is still very good in that top lane. But overall, Con Esports team comp is a little bit more balanced. It all kind of works more cohesively together, especially the Aatrox into this, very short-range composition that LiT has drafted.
Yeah, and I wonder if Rizwan's going to take this personally, right? That they banned away a couple of champions from mid too easy and said, you know what? You can have your Aatrox, buddy. No big deal, right? Because they do pick the Fiora into it. So this will certainly be an interesting top lane matchup between these two titans of the top lane. And Shibby, I got to ask, team composition wise? What are you feeling from both sides? Who do you think has the edge?
I mean, the Silas pick is getting a lot of value, and you know how I love me the Sejuani with the double melee solo lanes. I think LiT Esports, they have definitely drafted themselves like, hey, we're going to play towards mid and top. We have the Sejuani. If you play too far extended, if you don't respect the potential 2v2 in the top or mid, we'll just burn you every time. Mid 2 Easy is on a bit of a safer pick for himself, right? That Corki with the W can get out of dodge very, very quickly, even if the Sejuani or the Silas step up. I like that, giving him something a little bit more safer, allowing him to poke with these rockets here. But Khan Esports, I mean, Rizwan got what he wanted, right? And the Xayah Alistar bot lane, LiT Esports were forced to kind of take the Rakan away, and I don't love Rakan Kaisa as a pairing personally.
Yeah, Rakan Kaisa is kind of interesting, right? It's a serviceable pairing. You know, you wouldn't, if you had the option, you wouldn't pair it together. But if you're going to take it away from the Xayah, you can live with that, right? Like there are certain things that you can live with as a bot lane, and that is one of them. You know, Rakan will have the impact in the later game team fights. I do just worry, that this Alistar can get on top of Kaisa, a little immobile there, and we saw it in game one, or not in game one, but we saw how strong Xayah was in game two, saw how strong Alistar was in game one. You put them together, and this is what you can get, is absolute destruction.
Yeah, and I want to see how this package is going to be used, right? Because a while ago, when Corki was super prevalent, he would have package up pretty much for every objective fight here. But now, because of the 2-minute change that it got, it spawns 2 minutes later. So you can either save it for the second drag, right? You take the first drag and you save that package for the second drag, or instead you just use it to kind of impact top lane, or you 4-man dive bot lane, right? You gank them with the package. It's dependent on how mid 2 Easy uses it, in my opinion. And he's had a rough game 2, had a pretty solid game 1, but it seems that LiT Esports, despite what happened in both games, I feel like they want to stick to that. We're going to pick on your mid lane. We're going to force the issue, and we're just going to hope that Scorpio can carry along with this jungle pressure, as Rizwan and, I would say it was LL Juna has just been kind of left alone in the top lane, right? No attention has really been brought up there. Rizwan got a solo kill last time around, and then Ruko paid a visit top lane super early on and then never came back.
And we'll have to see how these lanes shake out, because they are certainly, all these lanes, even the bot lane, they're certainly been the craziest factor in these games. We've seen it go one way in the first game. We've seen it go another way in the second game, but there is just one game left in this best of 3 series. We're going to take a very short break as we are in the spectator delay. And when we return, we're going to deliver you the final game, LiT Esports Blue versus Khan Esports X. These two teams have traded haymakers in game 1 and in game 2. But game 3 is for all of the marbles that you could really get in week 2, to be quite honest with you. Both of these teams 1-0, and remember, Shibby, it's a pretty short season. So getting these wins early out of the way, really going to help you out as you get around to playoff time.
Yeah, and now as we head into game 3, Con Esports mental might be potentially a little bit boomed, or maybe that FF actually ended up saving them here, but standard 5-point defense across the board. None of these teams have tried anything too sneaky, right? No crazy invades, no, pushing up for vision on like Raptors or the red buff. These guys are just content on playing it safe and playing it pretty standard here, as it looks like Absar on this Maokai is going to start on the top side for himself. He's going to want to probably play for this Xayah Alistar, right? Punish the Kai'Sa, punish the Rakan, and really look to lock him down and get this guy ahead. Because I think wishfully, he has the abilities on the champion that can do it. He definitely can carry if given the right resources. But will Absar put his time back into mid lane to help mid too easy out? Because it looks like Ruko and Scorpio just have a bounty on his head.
Yeah, and, that's what you think may happen based off of the pathing and whatnot. But, Chibi, I do want to ask, what do you want to happen? We've seen 2 early games already come out from these teams. And we've seen, like you mentioned, Absar is paying particular attention to this mid lane. Do you think that should continue, or do you think he should go down and help out Wistfully, or maybe even help out Rizwan?
I think mid too easy is on a much safer champion. Oddly enough, right? You have the added safety of the W. You've got your main man Rizwan on arguably his best champion, right? With the Aatrox is into the Fiora, which is such a volatile matchup, right? If you can affect that as early as possible and get your Aatrox the lead, it's gonna look pretty rough for Fiora until we hit that like late game point where she can start side laning. So you want to be able to get Rizwan super far ahead, at least get him in a position where he can comfortably duel Luna. And honestly, mid too easy, he's playing Corki, right? You're not going to have a lot of the upfront damage, especially because he started with the tier as well. You're not going to be able to do too much. So I think Absar should just be pathing towards top, if not playing for bot lane.
Yeah, it looked like you could have had a pretty interesting level 2 gank angle there with the way JJ Luna was pushed up. But Absar just electing to clear it out. Maokai can certainly gank before you hit level 6, has all the tools to do it, but at level 6 you get a lot stronger. You can see Scorpio already looking to put as much damage as possible onto mid too easy, make him uncomfortable. And, if you're going to lose the melee into ranged matchup back-to-back games, I mean, you may have needed the extra mental that you saved after last game.
Yeah, I mean, Silas is one of those champions that he just loves trading super aggressively early, right? That's what you have to do. You use your E to dodge out the skill shot that potentially is that phosphorus bomb, and you just all in the Corki, right? You have Kingslayer to heal you back up. You've got a lot of burst coming out with the EW or EQ, right? And you just walk out best you can while not taking too much damage. I'm surprised he didn't end up going corrupting pot. A lot of Silases like to do that to trade the resources, but I respect the Doron shield, right? In case you take some poke, you have that regen ready to go. As Ruko fancying himself an invade, but with this knowledge given, they're gonna know that Absar is at bot side.
Yeah, Absar did get pinged out. I can't quite tell if they had the vision or not in that bottom try. So they had an idea, and Ruko went about face, decided he had to get out of there, but now a little bit of a fight in the bot lane means that Shepard is down a flash.
Shepard is down to flash here, but they know Absar's here. Like, you can't really do much, and the cleanse is available. So even if you get that twisted advance onto Kai'Sa, it's going to get cleansed almost immediately here. As Ruko has taken that top scuttle and is just hanging around bot lane, or mid lane, sorry, waiting for mid too easy to potentially set up. As now another WQ has come up. Absar hasn't left. This guy has just pitched the tent.
Yeah, and it's not really working out right now. You can see mid too easy in the mid lane to level up, but yeah, out in the bot lane, they didn't burn anything out of Banks there. Kiwi has no flash either, so, Absar trying to get some work done, but unable to do anything. It's very reminiscent of that last game. Game 1 was able to get a lot done. Game 2 couldn't. Game 3 trending the same way as Game 2.
Yeah, and because of that, Ruko got the back off, and he's going to be able to rotate his camps a little bit sooner, but instead, he's just opting in for a full bot lane swing, and he's a little bit stronger. Absar's gone.
Yeah, and Kiwi is going to get stunned up, and Kiwi is going down. It's first blood for Shepard.
And once again, Kiwi just getting targeted in that bot lane, right? On the Thresh, he was having a bit of a rough game. Even in game 1, early on, we saw Kiwi just take a whole bunch of damage and a whole bunch of punishment. Unfortunately, when you live that go in kind of pedal to the metal lifestyle with these engaged supports, you have to kind of, unfortunately, play a little bit safer when your flash isn't up here. And Ruko correctly identifying the situation, pathing bot right after the back, and even if Absol was there, they lose that 3v3.
You know, I'm kind of surprised Absol isn't just flashing under turret here, going to kill Scorpio. Ruko is showing up to get on top of mid too easy. Absol going to finish the chickens up. Let's see if Ruko wants a little bit more right now, because they don't know that Absol is there, but now a little bit of an indication. Gonna have to path all the way around. Means he can't do all that much, but Kiwi shows up here, and even though Scorpio took the Alistar ult, it's not enough. A kill going over to the cow.
And you might think that Kiwi, as Rizwan and JJ Luna,
level 6 Luna's level 6. Luna's level 6. Are they gonna be able to get the job done? They did dash slightly away. They're not able to proc the Grand Challenge, and Rizwan's going to be level 6 soon with a health advantage. Keep an eye on that.
I was going to say that you may think that Kiwi messed up the Pulv combo here, but actually Wing Scorpio into Absol so that Absol could get the root down and then following up with the Q, layers the CC a little bit longer and allows mid too easy in the rest of the game to put that damage in. Unfortunately, though, Kiwi picks up the kill regardless. So not too bad. A couple assist gold goes over to mid too easy and Maokai here, but overall Scorpio dies but doesn't really give too much over.
Yeah, it is a little rough, right? You did lose quite a bit of minions there. You did burn your TP, so you're going to pick them up anyway, even if you took it back. And Dragon getting started up here by LiT, but the engagement goes on to Shepard, who had to burn Cleanse. Shepard getting a little low down to about half HP, but they're looking to turn around the fight. Ruko is low and has to flash away. The Dragon is doing a little bit of damage. Scorpio is gotten here first, but mid too easy, looking to link up with the rest of his team. So LiT will be able to walk it out. However, this does mean Khan are going to turn around and maybe take the Dragon themselves.
Scorpio has the Maokai ultimate available right now, but like we said, mid too easy. Corki doesn't have the package available. I believe it's going to be 40 more seconds until it spawns here. So stalling the drag is so good for Khan Esports. I don't know if that was the idea, that you stalled the drag long enough for the Corki package to come in, but wait a minute.
Banks is dead.
Picks up the kill onto Banks.
Call it 2008 because the Banks are failing right now. A good kill there for Wistfully. A huge wave going under this turret. Ruko can't really help out either. They're less than half HP, so Shepard are going to be hard-pressed to try to pick up all of these minions. Could get poked, but this does mean more plate gold going over to this bot lane here. And it's a very small gold lead at the 8-minute mark. Shibby, this has been unlike any of the prior games played.
Yeah, and Scorpio looking to go in. He has the Maokai ultimate available right now. I want to see him just let it rip at some point, just to force the W out from Corki. But right now, with that kill and spotting the Sejuani in that bot lane to cover, Absol is going to let the Dragon, or let the Rift Herald rip right now. And Kiwi, smart roam from him, helping out his Corki. So it's not Absol this time that's, babying Corki here. It is Kiwi.
Yep, and that is a fantastic roam. Like, you knew that you weren't going to be able to get anything done on the bot side. Yes, they're going to shove in. Yes, they might take a plate, but getting to save your mid laner while Absol is able to take that Rift Herald is just really, really solid team play, and I like what Khan Esports is doing, but they are going to put everything into the mid too easy basket. Under the turret, the flash auto! Oh my god, Kiwi is nuts right now! Absol wanted to go in, but Banks is in the area, but that is a hell of a big play.
And giving this man the Alistar from game one, what a risk that you've taken, and unfortunately you pay for it right now. The W into the flash, follow-up Q into the stun. That Ruko was just locked up completely. Patrick Beverly, is that you?
Nah, bro, that's mad cow disease right there. As Ruko bet they wish they didn't show up to that mid play right there. And now Khan Esports looking like they're in the driver's seat again for the third game of the row. A team is up 3-1, has a slight lead. That lead that was only a little bit is now extended to about 1,000 gold, which is really the first sign that we see here of this game potentially getting out of hand. Now Absol up in the top lane does have the Rift Herald. JJ Luna is going to use the Grand Challenge, but they're going to look for the re-engage here. JJ Luna flashed into the Maokai ultimate. Great job balancing turret aggro, and it's a kill for Rizwan.
Oh, and you have one repost available, and unfortunately, Abzar has 3 abilities that CC you. The W to bait it out, and then the flash R into Q. Rizwan gets the kill, right? He gets Rift Herald gold, and this is what I said. You want to impact that lane. Yeah, it was a little late. It's at the 10-minute mark, but now Rizwan has quite a bit of gold in his pocket. He's going to back, and he's going to hopefully be able to start winning this lane out completely now.
Yeah, and if Rizwan's able to just win this lane completely, like you said, it's curtains for LiT Esports. They're just not looking so hot on the red side here, and I thought the draft was pretty sound. It was pretty okay, but it's been a complete reversal of fortune for Scorpio, for example. Here, he was just not been able to get anything done, and Mid Too Easy isn't even on any power spikes or anything.
Yeah, and we have yet to see a really solid package play coming out from him. But honestly, despite all that, he's stayed safe. He's been having a much better game than game 2. I would say he's even on track to potentially having a better game than game 1 here, as long as he can stay alive and pump the damage out. As we see Triforce being picked up for Corki here. So he's going to go for more of that AD carry style build, as now Ruko helping JJ Luna out right now. And Rizwan, I don't know if he fancies himself a fight. He might look for one once his ultimate comes up here, as the package is available still. But yeah, I'm surprised that he's not going that Luden's build that we typically see Corki's go. He's going to go for more of that short range, like I'm going to squab and fight you, as Ruko just swing and a miss in that bot lane.
Yeah, speaking of squabbing and fighting, it's not a total miss. The flash is burnt from Rizwan there. Both top laners have their ultimates available again, so it's probably best to just amicably part ways, get recalls in, and try again later. But yeah, Ruko has not had the game that you would really expect. 0-1-1, the scoreline doesn't look terrible. Yeah, you got 100% kill participation. But, early on, we were worried about Abzar not making plays, but now it's Ruko who's the one that hasn't really been able to make any plays.
It's not even that Abzar is going too crazy. He's just controlling the space very well. As now Kiwi, Shepard, you got to get out of there.
Could be big trouble there. Knock up onto Kiwi. Shepard trying to back away. You don't do a whole lot of damage to this cow. Banks is going to go down, and Abzar is here. Gets on top of Shepard. Flashes after him, and they are going to make Shepard's pie out of him. A double kill for Wistfully. Mid Too Easy just showing up saying, hi guys, moral support. Ruko on the top side looking to make a play happen. Under turret, Rizwan is going to go down. Ruko doing a good job of tanking it up.
A nice answer, right? Best you could do there. A 2-for-1 overall, right? As JJ Luna does pick up that kill in the top lane. But a lot of plates go down, and Scorpio did steal the Corki ultimate. Wait a minute. Abzar, though, is here.
Oh, Mid Too Easy is in a lot of trouble. Now he's just got to dodge the Corki ultimates there. It's going to land one, but wait, Scorpio is getting enclosed on by multiple members. Mid Too Easy flashing over the wall, but Wistfully there to potentially help him out. They are going to be able to get the kill, but Wistfully trades back a 1-for-1. And, they're in the area right now. This bot lane is shoved in. They're not going to go for any more, not to go take down that turret, I should say. There's only one plate left, so 1-for-1 overall after a lot of rigmarole.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
A whole lot of, that's a $5 word. I mean, I've heard it before, but it's the first time hearing you saying, yeah, dude, you're right. A lot of rigmarole, as you said.
Couldn't think of anything else, man. Sometimes you just scrape from the bottom of the barrel. You call it rigmarole?
Yeah,
it's
I call it
rude.
rigmarole.
I
thought it was rigmarole, but you're probably right.
Now you're gonna get me looking it up on Google.
Yeah, but Yanni, with the expansive lexicon, you might have just gotten some information here, but I was gonna say prior to that dive that happened, right, in that bot lane, Abzar has just been playing the map very well, right? The placement of his saplings, him putting down perfect control wards onto the pixel bush, keeping his laners safe here. He's just played a well-controlled game and just has kept Ruko in check, rather than like Ruko not trying to do something. Is now they're trying to go on to Kiwi, but that's an Alistar. He wants to go back in.
Ruko is going to have to flash away. Banks is the one getting rooted up, but Ruko gets rooted up again. There's a double, maybe a triple charm, but Banks has to try to get away. It looks like he'll be okay, but it looks like the fights are going toward Khan Esports X.
As Rizwan is chasing JJ Luna, just following him out, is going to force him out of that Baron pit, or sorry, Rift Herald pit. Technically,
it is still Baron pit, yeah.
It's Baron Pip, or it is ownership of the Rift Herald at the moment as the dragon is coming up.
Shelly's just renting right now.
Yes.
Which is crazy, right? Yeah, I want to know. I need to know. So Baron Nashor, please hit me up. I need to go find a place to live in, just go scream into the void in my own area. But we do have a dragon fight. We'll see if anybody's screaming into the void after this one. Scorpio does have that Alistar ultimate. Ruko is going to be the one to get engaged on. Banks is very low, but Scorpio is in the thick of things, but just doesn't have any damage, man. Wistfully is going to bring the feathers in and deal a lot of damage. Scorpio's in the middle of 4 guys, and you're going to go down as well. It's a double kill. Shepard's not doing anything, man. It's a triple kill for Wistfully. It might just be a bot diff.
Yeah, and I'd be screaming into the void right now if I'm Shepard there. He got completely zoned out by the Alistar. It was so sad. He got pulled, he got comboed, he got stunned, and could not do any damage. The AD carry was not allowed to participate, and unfortunately, we don't have rent control on Summoner's Rift, so Con Esports are just going to be stacking the dough right now.
Yeah, and LiT Esports was living rent-free in Khan's head after the last game, but no, they called the landlord on you, and they've turned it around, and they're serving you papers. 10 kills to 3, a 7-0 Wistfully is just going absolutely nuts this game.
Yeah, I mean, the silver lining is that if you can kill Wistfully, the gold is pretty even, maybe, potentially, right? He's got 7 kills, but even then, right, LiT Esports are facing down a very, very big barrel, right? And they have to try to get their AD carry involved in these fights and try to look for these fixes. Absar is absolutely just 1v2ing, and Kiwi, where there's a fight, there's a cow.
Oh my god, JJ Luna needs a lot of help. They can't help out JJ Luna, the flash for flash, but Rizwan gets the kill, and now Ruko's on the wrong side of the tracks. A double teleport coming in. Scorpio's got the ultimate of the Maokai. Mid too easy is joining the fight. Absar is low, but so is Ruko. In the middle of everybody is Scorpio, but you saw what happened last time. Scorpio couldn't live then, and he can't live now, as there's more kills going over to Con Esports X.
Yeah, double kill going out to the Corki and a single kill for Rizwan. That's a 3 for 0. Doesn't trade anybody in. And that Rift Herald gets popped into the top lane. Doesn't even need it, by the way. Will get the second charge. I'm going to fancy. It just does the moonwalk, right?
The animation.
Yeah, it does the animation. I'm going to think it's going to get a third charge potentially onto this top lane inhibitor turret here. It's going to take this turret down. Are they going to walk it in? No, they're not, actually.
Yeah, it looks like they set a lot of priority on this mid-outer turret, and why not, right? Get the pusher visual line up, and he did get the charge! Touchdown! Rift Herald!
Oh, nice from them. Don't need to walk it in at all here. So gets the charge onto that top lane inhibitor turret. That's going to be a nice kind of save your dessert for later, right? It's kind of when you, like, take a bite of the cheesecake, you eat dinner, and then you have that ready to go at, like, 9 o'clock with your TV and your wine. It's going to be really good for Con Esports come 22 minutes after the Baron is taken.
Bro, you just described that perfectly. And now I want cheesecake. You're not good for my health. Like, I'm a very large man. And, I should probably stay away from the cheesecake. But, man, cheesecake sound really good right now. And what sounds really good right now for Con Esports is them putting a bow on this one. It's still early. It's only 18 minutes in. The problem is the gold lead has gotten quite large once again. And it just feels like at around, the 12-minute mark of the game, these games just start going sideways. I think these teams may actually be evenly matched. It's just that when one gets ahead, they're really good at playing from ahead, and the other these teams are good at playing from ahead, and they're not good at playing from behind, is what I've gathered.
Yeah, I mean, the higher you go, right, the more of a stranglehold that these leads can have, right? It's almost like unless the other team has the ability, has the players, has the personnel to kind of make up for those goal differences, if it's this large, the other team in the lead is not going to be able to give that away so easily. It's going to, like I said, take a colossal amount of throws, and especially since everybody on this league obviously is on voice comms and everything like that, you're playing to win. You're playing together. You're communicating what you want to do next, how you want to set up the Baron, how you want to set up the Dragon here, as we do get a Cloud Rift. So not the worst result for LiT Esports here. They can just concede the Dragons and extend the game out longer here, but I want to say that Con Esports, they want to get this over pretty quickly. They will more than likely pull the trigger on that Baron once it spawns.
Yeah, and why wouldn't they, right? You recall that we talked about the Corki, you know, needing time to get developing, right? Well, you're pretty much there. You don't have your tier item quite yet, but you got a fully stacked tier. You got a Triforce. You got the boots. Boots are an actual good item on Corki. And, you know, this damage is going to start coming in hot and heavy. And look at the other side, right? You're looking at JJ Luna on Mythic. You're looking at Scorpio on Mythic, but the cupboard is bare in the rest of the inventory.
Yeah, I mean, it is unfortunate, right? It's end of the month. You're waiting for that paycheck to hit if you're LiT Esports right now. You don't got too many items in your inventory right now. Finally, they pick up some components, the Hextech alternator. You've got the giant belt coming out from Ruko. But yeah, I mean, pound for pound, you know, inventory for inventory. I mean, just the gold lead is there. Con Esports is just gonna take this Baron, right? It has spawned 30 seconds after. It's on a ward, but I don't think it matters really. Ruko has to be the hero here. He has to be able to go in, but Kiwi is trying his damnedest.
Well, let's see. The filet mignon, known as the Baron, is low, very low, but it's stolen away! It's stolen away! No paychecks, but you got the meat! That being said, the rest of the fight is not looking so hot. Scorpio's going to try to get away, is going to use the Aatrox World Ender to try to get out, but Banks gets knocked up, is able to get back to Shepard, and Ruko, the savior, taking the Baron, could turn the game around, but that is if the rest of the side of LiT Esports survives, which they do, but structures may not be standing for too much longer, Shibby.
Health bars are pretty low, and they still have to worry about the Alistar dive. Kiwi is more than willing to let the Pulv combo rip. If you're standing under your turret and his team is there, he will gladfully die for his comrades here. Now, unfortunately, the Baron, once that got ripped away from them, Con Esports, they're just going to take the dragon, then take the mid lane turret. They're just looking to pick up the pieces, and the gold lead is still 7,000 in the favor of Con Esports here.
Yeah, should be, you know, LiT Esports got their paycheck. The paycheck came a little early, and they had to spend it all to try to stay in the game, and now they're eating ice soup. Like, there's nothing that they can do. And now, the Dragon taken care of on the bottom side. Objective bounty claimed for this Fiora. Good solo gold there. But Rizwan is starting to become an absolute menace. That being said, is he going to be able to take out Banks and Scorpio?
Kiwi's here.
Kiwi is in the party here. Ignite taking away on Rizwan, but listen, if the Aatrox ain't getting low, then you know you're in a lot of trouble. Are they going to be able to close out on any kills? Scorpio is still alive. Scorpio makes the play. Rizwan can't get the kill. And somehow, some way, LiT Esports are staying alive. JJ Luna's got a shutdown, but wistfully gets kill number 9 in the ledger.
Oh, and Kiwi pops the ultimate a little too early for my liking, as Rizwan has overstayed, and Absar pops the ultimate, but can't help anybody out. And whoa, it was 10,000, not even the blink of an eye. But right now, LiT Esports, they are slowly crawling their way back into this game, as it is shortened to about a 6,000 gold lead.
You know, sometimes if you're LiT Esports, you run out of electricity. They got the shock paddles out. They're still in this game right now, but they may be in assistantly. It's not looking so hot, but they are fighting back at the very least, looking to make this a competitive game. The problem is they haven't gotten a kill on Wistfully. That is a big shutdown, but Wistfully has shown time and time again that they can keep themselves safe in these fights.
He is 9-0. He has been kind of put on the side lane duty to pick up the pieces here, match the Fiora right now. If the game does go long enough, though, with the build that Shepard and Fiora are fancying themselves right now, they can make this a lot harder than it should be, right? Kaisa not opting in for the Ludens, not opting for the Rageblade that we usually see, instead going for the Kraken Navori, a very late game centric build, allows him to move around these fights, allows him to get a lot of damage off as long as he's autoing, and especially into things like the Maokai, the Aatrox, the Alistar, should be able to get a bunch of these autos off here. But I mean, it's going to take maybe 10, 12 more minutes before we start seeing a late game win condition for LiT Esports. So Con, the time is ticking, but it is a little slow.
Well, JJ Luna might be in trouble, as the egg timer may have happened. A lot of stuns going out, but Wistfully is A-okay and picks up yet another kill. Everybody's got a recall. this top turret. Shibby, they're looking to cash in on dessert. They did not get their main course. It was taken away, but you know they want it. Stun's going to come out onto the jungler who gets onto the backline. Banks and Shepard get double knocked up, but Scorpio drops the ultimate down. He's going to try to be the hero. Many low health bars as Wistfully is leading the charge along with Rizwan, and they're now going to pull off and move toward this inhibitor. Some of those low health bars starting to get a little higher. Absar down to a little less than half HP. Scorpio and Ruko still healthy, but the damage ain't there, and Con Esports backs out.
Baron be damned. They still get that top lane inhibitor, and that's off of that early charge, like you mentioned, coming in from Shelly at around the 18-minute mark. So they're able to pick that up after picking up a kill onto JJ Luna here. They're able to push it 4v5, and now, although the gold lead has stayed relatively the same, right, has hovered at 6,000 to 7,000, Con Esports, they're finally comfortable pushing the lead here. In about a minute and a half, I want to say, despite Ruko stealing that Baron, they're going to let it rip again. I don't think they're too worried. It's one of those 50-50s that you take, especially with this gold lead. And if you get the Baron here coming up in a minute, you can look to just end the game completely.
Yeah, and they couldn't get it last time, and I think that's why LiT Esports is still in the game. Ruko has said, listen, they're going to do everything they can to keep their team into this game. You can see the junglers, I hesitate to say that they're at their peak of their powers, but look at the builds, right? Like, that's pretty much exactly what you want on both of these champions. The problem is everything else. Currently, Rizwan, an item up onto JJ Luna. JJ Luna had to pick up the heal cut item, right? In the mid lane, the items are even, but Corki's items scale pretty hard right now, and you know, not the same on Scorpio's end, perhaps seeing a defensive option next or a little bit more damage. And in the bottom lane right now is Shepard is, you know, they're 2-1, 239 CS at the 26-minute game. Typically, you're pretty happy with that, but then you look across the aisle and you see what Wistfully's been doing is working on item number 4. You're not feeling so hot. They need to make a miracle play happen. Find a pick somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, once Wistfully gets that bloodthirster, these fights are going to be much harder here. He might end up capping it off with the Guardian Angel as his final item, and if that's the case, Wistfully just becomes this menace of an ADC right now. Is Rizwan is looking to match JJ Luna, and we're getting to that point where Fiora in a side lane can get very dangerous, right? Divine Sunderer, Ravenous Hydra, the Executioner Callings, like you mentioned, in his back pocket. So Rizwan can't actually 1v1 him too much, as the Baron does get started here, and Ruko, Kiwi might be for his life.
They're looking for Kiwi. Kiwi is low, but mid too easy. Gets in there and does a lot of damage. The headbutt out. Ruko is stuck. The Baron is no longer being damaged here, and Wistfully is completely safe. It's a double kill for Corki. Scorpio, we've seen it before. We'll see it again. Can you get out of all 4 of them? Not quite. Wistfully's going to track you down.
Yeah, now Shepard left alive to try to stop this push, but with the supers in the top lane, they don't need the Baron. There's 2 supers ready to go, and I don't think Shepard can clear this. Kiwi's just gonna go on top of him.
Teleport getting used here by Rizwan. JJ Luna has joined the party. The first turret is going down. JJ Luna is going to try to get on the backside, try to get the Grand Challenge down. Going to stun up a lot of members. It is low. It is dead. Shepard can't do anything. Banks knows this one's over. Last turret standing. Banks is going to get in there and try to knock up everybody, but they catch the AD carry. They take him out. Ruko respawns just in time to see the last turret fall. The Nexus is exposed. Ruko is dead, and that is a win for Con Esports X.
You have to think that if maybe LiT Esports was a little bit more prevalent, a little bit more, remembering when they're going to spawn, that maybe Banks and them could have made a last final stand. But unfortunately, he checked out of the game once the Nexuses were going down. Con Esports, after that massive Baron fight, they take the top lane inhibitor, like you mentioned. They got supers ready to go, and they push on in. And Con Esports, maybe not the 2-0 I predicted, 2-1 over LiT, and just a very solid game 1 and 3 coming out from them.
Yeah, and I really like what they did. I think their team's really strong, and I think they play very well together, to be quite honest with you. I was kind of confused, kind of worried about the team play early on. It didn't look as sharp as I thought it would, but then they really sharpened themselves up as they hit their mid-game stride in game 1. And even in game 2, you know, it didn't go the way that they wanted, but game 3 was pretty clean. It just seems like a 3-1 lead for a team is pretty much almost unbeatable in some cases here. And it's a well-fought series win. But I do have a feeling that these 2 teams may see each other again. And really the question is of JJ Luna going to remain in the top lane, or they're going to go back to their typical starter if there's the opportunity to. Sometimes you just can't play on game days. It happens, life gets in the way. But Shibby, I gotta say, I was pretty impressed with Con Esports X. We may have rated them at the bottom of the barrel of team names, but they may be at the top of the league. We may be forced to respect the name.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they have a distinct way of playing, right? I mean, Rizwan in that top lane got the Aatrox. He didn't do anything crazy fancy or anything like that, but he was just able to handle JJ Luna. And I love this combination of Absar and mid to easy. I have a feeling we're going to be singing their praises as the games go on and as the weeks come by. They're going to cement themselves as the top mid jungle duo in the league. Yeah, it's week 2. Yeah, it's a little bit early, but they've shown me the pieces, the foundation, the building blocks for potentially a championship team here.
Yeah, mid to easy saw some Valorant gameplay and said, I want a pocket Sage. He's got his pocket jungler helping him out big time. But, you know, it's not like mid to easy particularly needs it. You know, especially in that last game. Sure, they had a roam to come help them out, but they looked, you know, totally fine. We're not trying to bag on mid to easy's laning here, just that they seem to really get a lot of help from their jungler. And you know what? It doesn't matter how you do it as long as you win the game. So big credit to Con Esports X. And for LiT Esports Blue, it's not totally back to the drawing board. You would have liked to be a 2-0 here. And, you know, especially, you know, Revnon couldn't play. You know, Revnon, who was on SDC Death Cards last season, had a really, really good showing. A really strong top laner. Would make LiT Esports a really formidable team. So 1-1 so far, you're pretty okay with it. But I bet they're wishing they had that last game back.
Yeah, it is one of those situations, but it is early on in the season, right? There's still a lot of League of Legends left to be played here in the Blue Otters Master Leagues. I firmly believe that LiT Esports will bounce back here. But once again, congratulations to Con Esports X, going up 2-0 in Blue Otter Masters right now on that win streak, as we've mentioned. And honestly, Yanni, it was super fun to cast this 3-game series. Stomp after stomp after stomp. Maybe not the most entertaining back and forth, but it is still fun to watch what these teams are going to bring out here. Yanni, you have anything else to say?
All I can say is that I was entertained, and I certainly hope the Blue Otter fandom was entertained. And one other thing I have to say, do not forget that Blue Otter League is sponsored by Coachify.gg, platform for esports coaches, 0 commissions. Sign up is free. Anybody can create a profile that is COACHIFY.gg. But that will do it here for us tonight. So for myself, my co-caster Shibby, our producer Uls, who does a great job all the time, thank you so much for all the hard work you put in. And the rest of the Blue Otter League family, thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. And we hope to see you tomorrow for some more Blue Otter League action.